Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. It's time. It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. On a Tuesday, Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And we finally did it. We did it. Got the W. Kings win for the first time in this very young, but not that young, 2024-2025 season, besting a team in the Portland Trailblazers that honestly isn't very good. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. And as we've talked about, the Kings, they deserve to go up against a team that they could take care of business against for us to see, are you going to take care of business against them? And Chris, Whitey happened to be sitting next to us during the game last night. And Whitey talked about how this was one of the worst basketball games in the first half that he's seen in a very long time. And I would tend to agree. I mean, I think it was very clunky at one point. The Blazers were shooting 8% from three-point land. The Kings, they weren't playing much better. They were kind of playing down to their competition, not from an effort standpoint. It was just a clunky game. It had no flow, and ultimately the better team took care of business. But they finally get the beam. I'm driving home. I see the beam shining bright. DeMar DeRozan finally gets his beam, so we know that he's feeling good about that. How are you feeling, Chris Watkins?
Good. You sounded like Jason Tatum for a second there with the "we did it." We finally did it.
We did it.
There you go.
Is that me already?
Yeah, no, that was quick.
Wow, Nate's on it.
I know. Look at that. Yeah, I mean, that first half was very unenjoyable. Got it right in front of me. The Blazers shot 7%. You gave them too much credit. 7.7% from three in that first half. And then, yeah, I mean, it was a free throw shooting contest really for about 25 minutes there, it felt like. And then, yeah, things opened up. The Kings looked like the better team. They hit their shots. And, yeah, I mean, thankfully, I think it was a very rare night where a team comes into Golden One Center and doesn't look like the Boston Celtics hitting 29 threes on opening night. Finally, somebody can come in here and not shoot like one of the best teams in the NBA, because the Blazers aren't. I mean, they were 33% from three heading into that game, and it was very nice to see that they actually shot under that average percentage. So good night, and I don't care if it's good defense from the Kings or if it was just an off night from the perimeter for the Blazers. You take it however you can get it at this point.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the Kings had to do. Because, look, you know how I felt about it. I thought, okay, it might be panic mode, whatever it is. I do want to see what they do on a back-to-back, 6-9 in back-to-backs last season. We know how tough back-to-backs can be. But on the list of back-to-backs, this is a back-to-back that the Kings should be able to handle. We have that sound. Obviously, we're not going to show you video from Kendricks last night. I mean, that was really, really brutal for the Utah Jazz. You know me, Chris, I've been very open. I don't try to see stuff like that, but I'm scrolling through, and look, I got to talk to Elon or somebody, because I'm just scrolling and I see the bad boy not blurred out, anything like that, and it was rough. So you know that the Jazz are going to be reeling a little bit, but they're fighters and they're going to try to take care of business. But we have plenty of time to get to the Jazz. We are still going to relish in this victory that the Kings got, and to help us relish in that victory, Tracy Rodriguez of NBC Sports California is going to join us. Going to join us at 12 p.m. to talk about the Kings, talk about what the Kings have going on tonight against the Jazz and how they took care of business against the Blazers. But DeMar DeRozan, first beam, he's been waiting to get this first beam. He's been talking about it for months to push that button. He finally got to do it last night. And this is how it sounded.
We're going to count you down, and you're going to slam that thing, and it's going to light up. Are you ready for this? Yeah. I feel like you're ready for this. You
There you go, right
Did I
there.
hear Debo Weather in there?
No, I do not think
Said
so.
Debo something.
Okay.
I will say the first time I saw the beam, I didn't know about the song, Chris, that plays, Light It Up. I don't know if they say light the beam after that, but Light It Up. But it's a great song, and we hadn't heard that song in I don't know how many days. A couple people were keeping track. I'm just glad that we finally got to hear it. Here's some of the numbers from last night. Domantas Sabonis, 36 minutes, and we have Mike Brown still kind of talking about the minutes. Again, back-to-back. They got to go to Utah today, but 36 minutes for Domantas Sabonis. You have 16 points for him. DeMar DeRozan, 23 points. Keegan Murray, 6 points. De'Aaron Fox, 24 points. Kevin Huerter, 18 points. Trey Lyles, 3 points. Doug McDermott, 6 points. And Malik Monk, 12. That is what we had going on for the Kings. And then for the Blazers, you have Kamara with 2 points. Jeremy Grant with 7 points. Denny Avdia with 9. DeAndre Ayton with 20. And Anthony Simons. And Chris, we were having some fun with Anthony Simons yesterday because that guy can put him up, man. 1 for 7 from 3. It felt like he took even more than that, but 1 for 7 for 3 for 12 points. We'll get into the Blazers a little bit later in the hour, but what stuck out to you from the Kings' performance, whether it was in the box score or just actually watching it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Blazers shooting definitely stuck out for sure, just their lack of hitting shots. And again, I don't know how much we want to give credit to the Kings for, their perimeter defense and how much of it is just the Blazers were missing shots. Like it did feel like, again, the Blazers just kind of weren't on yesterday. And I think any time when Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons are, let's see here, combined 7 for 24, I think you're probably going to beat the Blazers on most nights, especially Jeremy Grant finishing with 7 points. Like I really think that defensively is where the Kings actually won this game, which is scary to say. I mean, we've talked about this team's defensive deficiencies for a long time, and I think the fact that they just really looked disruptive in the paint, really making it tough for a team like the Blazers to get anything going. I didn't love the ticky-tacky calls. It felt like there was a lot of really quick whistles in that first half, but I think the Kings did a good job of playing through it. DeMar gets a really special whistle. I think he did a good job of kind of exploiting that in the second quarter with some of the younger Blazer guys who don't really know how to defend a guy like DeMar DeRozan. Good to see him take advantage of that. And ultimately, I mean, I think that shot distribution in the offense, again, or at least the scoring distribution, really sticks out. The fact that everybody was able to eat. You had moments from DeMar. Sabonis does his quiet, only on 8 attempts, still gets 16 points and almost puts up a triple-double as well. And then Kevin Huerter having a really big offensive game, to me, really did stick out. I think especially in the pregame, there was a lot of conversation about, why Mike Brown wasn't playing Keon Ellis. Would Keon Ellis be able to or would Mike Brown be able to find minutes for Keon Ellis, which is a crazy statement. Kevin Huerter did make it tough. I mean, you see why Mike Brown likes to see Kevin in that offense with those starters. I mean, he was 7 of 12, 4 of 9 from 3. The amount of open threes he got, you understand why Mike Brown might want someone like Kevin Huerter in that lineup with those guys, because when you have DeMar DeRozan, you have De'Aaron Fox, you have Domantas Sabonis, and you have Keegan Murray running around the perimeter alongside those guys, somebody's going to get forgotten, and that guy more times than not is going to be Kevin Huerter, and Kevin Huerter's going to make a defense pay for leaving him open, probably more than Keon will, even though, again, you can definitely make the argument with Keon being a 40% shooter. He can do that as well, just wasn't given the opportunity.
Yeah, and look, the reality of the situation is that this was never a Kevin versus Keon conversation. This was who is going to give the Kings the best and most production out of that 2 position. How we got here is because that wasn't Kevin Huerter last season. If it is Kevin Huerter this season, that's fine. That we want Kevin Huerter to return to who he was that Beam Team season. All we had to go off of, you're only as good as your last performance. And we were just going off of what Kevin Huerter did last season. If Kevin Huerter is going to play like this every single game, then yeah, there's no question. And we won't have to have the conversation. You have to realize, or not you, Chris, I'm just saying the collective, anybody that feels like Kevin Huerter is kind of getting the the bad end of this deal is that he opened the door. This is just how sports work. If you're not producing, you're going to have to find somebody, if you're a coach or you're a team, that is producing, and that's where we got to. If Kevin Huerter is going to play like this, then there aren't going to be any questions. And then you still have Keon coming off the bench. Could that maybe sacrifice Keon's growth? Sure, but everybody you can't do everything at one time on a team. If it's, hey, we're moving in the right direction in the Kevin Huerter capacity, okay, well then Keon might suffer a little bit. And that's okay, as long as you're moving towards what your goals are. And I think that's what the Kings have been doing. Obviously, this is their first victory. Need to see what they do in this back-to-back, because as far as back-to-backs go, this is a softer one. So I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, it is a back-to-back, you got to split this. No. As far as back-to-backs go in the Western Conference, this is a gotta have it, because the other back-to-backs are not going to look like this. So great stuff from Kevin Huerter, great stuff from the rest of the crew. You have an opportunity here to kind of get things rolling, and we have some sound, but that's what Malik Monk talked about. He talked about, okay, we finally got this one. Now we can get that monkey off our back and move forward. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. And this is the first test, Chris. I know we're still talking Blazers, but this is a spot where the Kings would have you call it a mini letdown, where you would hope that last season, you would hope that, okay, let's get rolling a little bit, and maybe they scrape it out, maybe they don't, but it's just not going to be easy, and the Jazz are not going to make it easy. It's not supposed to be easy. So I see this as an opportunity for the Kings to show the world and show, the Kings fan base, hey, we know the first couple games have been rough, but if you look at it, Chris, even me who's been freaking out, that's three well-played games. Come on. Right? They don't have the results, because there were spurts, 5 minutes, 10 minutes here where they did not play well. But as a whole, if you look at the total minutes that they've played this season, that is better than where we were at last season already. So they got to continue to push, got to continue to grind, and hopefully they end on the right side of things. All right, we got sound from Mike Brown as far as Keon Ellis is concerned, and we have Mike Brown on the win when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys, live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus, view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento State football this Saturday at 6 versus Portland State. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes here for Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Now that fall is here, now is the perfect time to head to Stockton and check out a new Mercedes-Benz. I had the opportunity just last week to drive an all-new S-Class 550, and let me tell you, it was a sweet ride. The moment I hopped in, I felt like I was in a world of luxury. From the steering wheel to the seat cooling and even the power of the engine, I was impressed. And then, of course, when I hopped into my Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV, I felt the same thing. So hurry in and take advantage of the Mercedes-Benz incentive bonuses up to $15,000. And they have tons of pre-owned vehicles as well, including C-Class sedans, GLC SUVs, and a whole lot more. Take it from me, you won't be disappointed. So take the short drive down I-5 to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton or online at mbofstockton.com.
Sabonis at the right elbow, back to Keegan on the right wing. Had a notion, didn't shoot it. Now makes a backdoor cut and a pass from Sabonis. Kicks to the corner, Huerter for three. He's got the triple. Sacramento with a 7-0 start. Kings have hit 3 of 5, and the Blazers 0 for 4. As Sacramento enjoys a quick start here in the opening 2.5 minutes.
Thank you, G-Man. You know what I do love, Chris? I love when I was in the car during Malik's post game with G-Man. I don't think enough people know about G-Man and Malik Monk's relationship. They have a really cool relationship where you can tell Malik is excited whenever. Well, first of all, when you get a post game, most of it is after a win,
right?
But that means you played pretty darn well. But every time they talk, it's really as if I feel like there could be a highlighted, in the run that they do on YouTube. There could be a highlighted section on the relationship between G-Man and Malik Monk. It's pretty cool.
I would love to see them just go to dinner together and just film it or just
do
some
stuff
sort
together.
of content together. Yeah, I mean those two would just be absolutely incredible together. And I'm sure on the plane that Malik can give G-Man a hard time, and I'm sure G-Man gives Malik a hard time too.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's hear from Mike Brown here. We have 2 pieces of sound. We have Mike Brown on the win, and then, as a lot of people were curious about Keon Ellis not getting time, we have that as well. But here's Mike Brown on the W.
It doesn't matter if they're up big, down big, close game. They're going to get up in you and keep trying to disrupt you. And then they got those 2 big guys on the backside that clean a lot of stuff up at the rim. But I thought our guys were really good defensively. They shot 42% from the floor, 18% from the 2. And so our guys did a great job of trying to follow our game plan on the defense end of the floor. I thought, Keegan stuck his nose in there and rebounded. Doma stuck his nose in there and rebounded. Fox with 6 rebounds. Even Malik gave us a big spurt off the bench in the second half. He ended up with 4 rebounds, but he was really big in the run that we had in the second half to create.
There you go. So that is how Mike Brown feels about the W. And it's tough. We were sitting there and thinking, all right, well, they kind of did what they were supposed to do. So how is the show going to go? But ultimately, I think it really helps.
Never fun either, Like nobody ever has storylines after a blowout.
No,
it's like, what are we supposed to do?
But I think what saves it in this situation for us and for all the fans out there is that it is the first win.
Yeah, for
sure. You got to see DeMar DeRozan take care of business. And honestly, Chris, I don't. We Google him once a month. I always want to say Taylor Mays, who was the USC linebacker, but
played like linebacker.
Skylar Mays from the Blazers.
None of him.
That happened.
Or Dwap Reith either.
Right. So that happened. So we can sit here, and I know it sounds like a low bar. Alan, how can you be talking about beating the Blazers and be happy about that when you said that this team could be a 4 or 5 seed? I think both things can be true.
Yeah.
Because you don't become a 4 or 5 seed if you trick off games like this, which is exactly what they did last season.
Yeah.
We know that their record was terrible coming back. I know it was just a mini road trip down south, but those road trips coming back, we'd always be super juiced up. Okay, everybody, they've been gone for a little bit, and then they would lay an egg, and they didn't do that last night. So look, you know how it goes, Chris. #tiny victories. We'll take that.
Yeah.
And it's not a tiny victory because we'll talk about De'Aaron Fox and his 10,000 points and DeMar DeRozan finally getting that first win. Yeah. So as far as blowouts go, this one was one of the more entertaining ones simply because of everything that happened with it. You had Kevin Huerter playing well. We even saw Dougie McBuckets. I mean, Frankie was dang near crying because the Yankees lost. Frankie's doing the Dougie once they're playing Teach Me How to Dougie when Doug McDermott is going off. So I think that everybody got into the mix, Chris, and that really helped a situation where it's, all right, it's the Blazers. You were supposed to take care of business.
Right.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that they hadn't been taking care of business, and they did last night.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything you said is spot on. And I think that, I mean, to me, there's still some things that we can talk about. Like you said, I mean, Kevin playing like how he is. I even think Malik, who didn't play a massive game, only had 12 points. But those 2 threes he hit, I believe both of them, they felt like they were right after each other. There was one off a tip from Keegan Murray. And Malik, I thought was really good last night as well. You had Trey Lyles start to contribute a little bit off the bench yesterday, though I thought it was a little bit of a shaky game from him, especially shooting the ball. I think all around it was a really good team effort. And to me, the one storyline that I definitely, it just screamed at me is DeMar and how he, for a minute there, really controlled that game. Specifically, I think it was in the second quarter where he got to the free throw line an absolute ton. I think that's exactly what the doctor ordered, as we had kind of been talking about. Hey, like DeMar DeRozan is essentially brought to this team to have them avoid losses like they could have had last night. I think that was maybe an example of how he can do that. Now, it's one thing to just say it now. Okay, so what? A dude is just an older guy, and so that means that you're not going to lose these games? No, you see how it actually works in practice. DeMar slowing the game down, getting to the free throw line, making sure the Blazers don't go on any crazy runs or anything like that. And if they're not going to have momentum, or I'm sorry, if we're not going to have momentum, make sure they don't have any momentum either. I just thought that it was a really good class game from this Kings team. Of course, there's so many things that you can do better. I think those 3-point, I know they end up at 40% from three, but I think that the volume is still something that we could see go up from this team. But I think all in all, it was a really good performance, and I think everybody had a little bit to play in it too, and I think that's a really important thing, as again, we don't want to get too top-heavy here. I think the fact that we felt contributions from just about everybody on the team, even Keon Ellis, I think is absolutely huge for this team's momentum going forward.
I'm assuming Chris, because you did a great job with the post game again last night, but a lot of people probably don't know, so I'm gonna let them know right now.
Tell them.
Your Sacramento Kings from the free throw line.
What?
23 of 25, good for 92%.
What?
You ever take a test in a subject you didn't think you were very good at?
All the time.
And you mess around and get you get an A on the test. Yeah. A minus, technically, sure, 92.
Whatever,
I mean, the giddiness that you feel, that's how I feel looking at this, Chris. I feel like I'm back in algebra class looking at something that I never thought I'd see happen. An A minus, 92% from the Kings from the free throw line. And that right there is all DeMar DeRozan, but it's not all DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan, he did miss 9 of 10. You got Sabonis, 5 of 6. Those are the two misses right there. Keegan Murray, we've talked about him. He only gets to the free throw line one time, but he has 2 makes. De'Aaron Fox, 4 for 4. Malik Monk, 3 for 3. Maybe it's contagious.
Man.
Maybe it's contagious on both sides. Yeah. Okay, when there's one clank, we can't let our brother clank alone. We must all clank together. Yep. When one brother is making it, we all must make together. 92%, and that can't be talked about enough, Chris. I know it's still early, but this is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Kings. And look, you know how I am.
Simple concept.
Okay, you guys have been listening to us for a year now. I'm gonna overreact. Chris is gonna keep us all even keel. And a couple just yesterday,
sometimes
Chris.
Too even.
But I'm saying this: don't let him lose tonight.
No,
don't let him lose tonight.
No.
Okay,
it could all be erased.
It could all be erased. But I have a good feeling about it, Chris.
Yeah.
I just know this: the Jazz, they're not gonna roll over. They're playing for their guy now.
They haven't won yet. The same hunger that the Kings had going into last night, the Jazz are going to have tonight too.
I will say the only game I caught of the Jazz was Jazz Warriors, and I was just watching thinking, what is happening here?
Yeah.
What is happening? I mean, I looked it up. Lauri Markkanen, 27 years old, so you capture the flag, and maybe those timelines are close enough. But it's a complete mess right now. And Jordan, can someone free my guy, Jordan Clarkson? Can someone free him? He's going to mess around and end up on a contender. At least I hope he does. But he will be contending against the Kings tonight. We will get into all that. And Chris, when we get back, Chris has some more notes on Huerter and Fox as they talk about the Kings and their level of desperation. I told you it wasn't just me.
No.
I told you. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
And a handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
I think the dining room table is one of the most important pieces of furniture in a home. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa for Naturewood Home Furnishings. The dining room is not only where families share meals prepared with love for relatives and guests, but also where the warm conversations remind us why those around our table are so important to us. Right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings is offering more than 150 new dining tables during their in-stock dining sale. All dining room furniture is on sale, including tables, chairs, hutches, and buffets. You can choose from casual to formal and in between. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings so When that doorbell rings and your company is waiting, you can be proud to seat them around your new dining room with the distinctive pieces of furniture that you'll love for their individuality today and you'll treasure for memories you'll have for tomorrow. Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water reel.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I don't feel so good. You do feel hot. DayQuil Kids will take care of that fever. What about my cough? DayQuil Kids has that covered. Will it make my throat feel better? Yes, that too. But will it taste good? Yep, DayQuil Kids comes in your favorite flavor. Purple? Well, yes, it's great.
Try new DayQuil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Keegan Murray gets a screen from Sabonis. Sierra, back to Sabonis. Relocating in the corner is Huerter, and he nails another three. And the Kings are off to a 13-4 advantage.
We'll take the Sacramento.
All right, Chris. We're going to keep the good vibes rolling.
Okay.
Want to break all this down. Then we're going to open up the phone lines because I know people were a bit worried. I don't know who was out there worried, Chris. I wasn't ever worried. I knew they were going to take care of business. No. Okay? Yes. Better, more minutes of good basketball than bad basketball.
Yes.
But you didn't have anything to show for it yet, and now you do. But there was a level of desperation, not just within Sacktown Sports, specifically talking about myself. The guys felt it as well. And, Chris, you got some notes on that one.
Yeah, I just thought this little piece of sound from both De'Aaron and Kevin was very, very interesting. As I think in general, especially last year, we talked a lot about this team and you know, are they playing it too cool? Are they too coy? Maybe, you know, it would be nice to see some fire from these guys. It'd be nice if it felt like they felt the importance of games beforehand. And, you know, did it really ever feel like they were giving special games special attention? You know, the Kings of old were always kind of classified as playing down to their competition, but also playing up to their competition. And I think that leads fans in general to a lot of frustration because it feels like we can tell when you're mailing it in and when you feel like to put the right amount of focus forward. I think this quote from Kevin and De'Aaron yesterday, both of them pretty much having the same exact answer, which tells you what was being preached in the locker room beforehand. Here's both Kevin and De'Aaron. It's a nice little supercut of them both talking about the attention to detail in yesterday's game and them playing with a little bit of desperation.
I feel like anytime we play at home, there needs to be an urgency to win. And so, especially this early in the season, I think, you know, we should have played desperate. I feel like we you know, coming into this, we just couldn't let them outwork us or play harder than us. And for the most part, I feel like, you know, we did that.
Yeah, we had to play desperate. Obviously, you don't want to start a season 0-3. Obviously, and then two of them being at home. So we couldn't let, obviously, a younger team come in and outwork us. And obviously, they were on a back-to-back. But, you know, we have one tomorrow, and that's you never want that to be an excuse. You know, if the ball doesn't go in, then the ball doesn't go in. But being outworked is something that you can't, you know, just come in and let somebody do.
I think that might sound a little bit cliche, like obviously, you know, oh yeah, you know, shots aren't falling, we got to find other ways to win. It's not something new we've heard, but I think the fact that both of them use the term outwork, I think that tells you that that's something that's being actually preached in the pregame. And it's just not something, I mean, you were definitely I had to do the post games. You were in definitely more post game press conferences than I was last year. I don't remember hearing them talking about being outworked and making sure that they're doing the work to outwork the other team. A lot of the time it felt like, they would say things, and it might be, just dressing a pig a different way, but I kind of think that last year it would be, we need to do the little things. We need to do the little things. And yeah, little things you can assume is outworking, but it's not outright going out there and saying, no, we just need to put the right effort forward. And I don't know. It felt new. It felt like something that this team hasn't really embraced before. And again, it's one thing to talk about it, but I do actually think that yesterday it did feel like there was a couple opportunities where the Kings could have taken their foot off the gas. And the Blazers did make a decent run in the late fourth quarter or mid-late fourth quarter. But besides that, the Kings really did have their foot on the gas the whole night. And again, it might just be lip service. And later today, I might regret hyping up this sound so much. But I just thought it sounded different than anything I had heard them say last year.
Well, I think what's been tough with De'Aaron Fox, and we have a lot to talk about with De'Aaron Fox as he, is the fifth king to get to 10,000 points. I think what's tough is that De'Aaron Fox, we know that how much he wants to win, but then he would have things that would maybe be, for lack of a better term, confusing when he would talk about the I don't think about this loss as soon as I walk out the building, and some things just didn't really sit right with the fans. But ever since this offseason started and they missed the playoffs, I think from helping to get DeMar DeRozan, which he's been very open about that he wanted to bring DeMar DeRozan into the fold, to the things that he said as far as, I think it was a couple weeks ago where he said, if we're not playing to win the championship, then what are we doing? Right. You know what I mean? I'm not going to essentially waste my time. And I think we're seeing the evolution, dare I say, of De'Aaron Fox into really a competitor that maybe he's always been, but just a more mature version of that, where it's, I'm going to be more open with the fact that we can't be on some BS. It's
embarrassing.
We can't, because and I think part of that is when you go out and you say, or Rich Paul, his agent, has said the things that he said about we want to see what Sacramento does and we want to be with the things that he said. All the fingers are pointing back at you, De'Aaron, because we know that whether you get this Supermax or not, it's all in your hands, right? You can't control if Kevin Huerter or Malik Monk, if they make shots, but you can control what you do. So I think we're seeing a different version of De'Aaron Fox, to where it's, I don't think that he cares any more than he had in the past, but it's just a new level of, I'm going to be more vocal about that and not be as, your mom would say, if somebody says something bad about you, just let it roll off your back like a water on a duck or something like that. I think he is taking things to heart, where it's not what people are saying about them, but more so, I'm going to let y'all know how I really feel. And I don't want there to be any question about De'Aaron Fox as a competitor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you're right. Like, vocalizing it is completely different, because when you vocalize something, not only is it holding your teammates accountable, but it's also holding you accountable as well, because you're now on record, and that quote is now directly tied to you. And so people are going to hold you to the standard that you're holding everybody else. I just really like to hear it. Like you said, I mean, De'Aaron, I think, has always been somebody who desperately wants to win, and we feel the frustration and the anger when his team hasn't been successful. But this is the part that we just haven't really seen from him a ton, is getting out there and really facing it head on and really challenging his team as well. And I think that's going to be good for all of them this year, is just to challenge each other and keep each other accountable. And I think that they've done well so far as a group, but I'm really excited for this road trip, because I was talking about it a bit last night on the post game. I just think that road trips in the NBA, especially early in the season, that's when a team really comes together and you really find your voice, you find your identity. Again, I talked about it a bit last night, but at home, you can kind of get comfortable. You got your family in town. It's tough to meet up with teammates and things like that. But when you're on the road, you're on the plane together, you're in the hotel together, you go to lunch together, you go to dinner together, you do the whole 9 yards, or you might even party together. But I just think that this is a real opportunity for this team to find themselves early against some weak competition. There's really no better opportunity that I think this team's going to have to get an early start. And, they have, 4 easy games lined up in front of them here. If they can come back home next Wednesday and have 5 wins and be 5-2 or whatever it might be, I think that's how this team can really hit the ground running. And maybe the next time we see them, they look like a completely different unit, because right now it still feels like they're still coming together. I think it still looks like a little bit of disjointed pieces, but you can see them starting to come together. And I hope by the end of this road trip that it is just a cohesive unit that's ready to roll through.
Yeah. And to me, you're setting the tone for the season right now.
Yeah.
That is why the first 2 losses, even though I know it's just 1 and 2 of 82, I'm just thinking, all right, you got to get this thing rolling. They do that last night, and now they can move forward. You have to take care of business. You're back to 500. You're at 2-2, and other teams. I mean, you look around the West, and now all of a sudden, Chris, this is what we knew. We knew somebody new was going to enter the chat. We didn't know if Seth and the Warriors would have something cooking. And by the way, they looked good before Seth went down. And now Andrew Wiggins is dealing with stuff too. And now you have the Lakers. Right now you have the Lakers, when we were doing our prediction, not just we, the collective basketball besides everybody outside of Los Angeles and all the bandwagon Laker fans out there, nobody had them in the mix. So that's another team now that you're worried about. There's only so many spots. You need to get one of those 6, so you're not messing with the plan. I don't know if the Lakers can sustain this. We talked about it yesterday. There's no way. We know they're not shooting for anything better than a 3 seed. They just don't have the horses, right? They're just going to be nights where LeBron cannot do what he's doing right now. We have some notes. LeBron's been sick, been dealing with that. He's been playing through it already. So we've seen a lot of teams go through some things already. And now the Kings have an opportunity. This is where you get the headway. You can look at it a couple different ways, Chris, but throughout the season, most teams don't necessarily get healthier, right? I mean the wear and tear of the season, you got to pick your spots. And I feel like this is a great spot for the Kings to pick and be able to come out on the other side and not be chasing teams, or not be chasing as many teams as they were chasing in the past, because there is going to be a stretch where this thing doesn't look the way, you're not going against a team that you're going against coming up here.
Yeah, I mean, that's really where this team's going to get tested, is in the middle of the season. You do have easier opponents right now, but that just means that at some point here, those tough opponents are going to be stacked up. And hopefully the Kings are kind of ready. They have a nice little runway before that happens, but this season is definitely going to be, it feels like it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint, for sure. I mean, you always talk about how sometimes this season, the NBA season, it feels like it's long. It's 82 games. It doesn't end until April, but the games just stack up so quickly. Hopefully these guys can kind of embrace that. And I think that they should. I mean, I think every single game it's felt like they've played better and kind of tightened things up. And, I think it's good that they have some weaker opponents here to kind of get their bearings a little bit. But I'm excited to also see them start to face some tougher competition and see where they actually stack up, because we can get excited about them being 5-2 after beating the Raptors twice and the Hawks and the Jazz and the Blazers. But realistically, you can't actually get excited until you start to see this team beat the Timberwolves of the world, beat the Lakers, as funny as that is to already say, the Mavericks, the Grizzlies, the Celtics, all the teams that are really going to be there at the end. That's where we find out how good this team really is. And thankfully, I guess we won't find out for some time, as really the Heat and the Suns are the only quality competition the Kings play for a while now.
Yeah, Suns, it feels like the Suns and the Lakers have been in a 7-game series. They just play each other every single night.
I swear.
It's
I was like,
super
I feel like
random.
they've already played 4 times.
Yeah, and I know you saw JJ Redick just seething in the post-game presser.
So mad. I was like, brother, it's a long season.
It's going to be a long season with them, but it's
so
Hollywood, and that's what they do. looking around to the rest of the league, like we've been saying, Chris, I mean, Ja Morant didn't play yesterday for the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies do that weird thing where they win when Ja Morant, when they play really well. When Ja Morant doesn't play, you got the Nuggets, obviously, and what they got going on. I saw an NBA exec say they need to move on from Westbrook already because the spacing, surprise, is just trash. So, and there are going to be opportunities for the Kings and the Suns and these teams that were battling it out like the Lakers last season to make a move up. The question is, who is going to show up and show out when it matters most? Well, we know who's not going to show up. That's the Portland Trailblazers. We talk about what we saw last night from the Trailblazers, and a little bit of a media mess yesterday with some of the guys that were covering the Blazers and the Yankee fans just going crazy. We have a little bit of fun coming up next. And then at 11, we ask the question. We open up the phone lines. Are the Kings back on track? Well, you might say to me, Alan, were they ever off track? Let's discuss. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-290-0239. 800-290-0239. Again, that's 800-290-0239. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the propane tank on your grill first before hosting a tailgate.
Let's fire up. Here, let me try. Seriously? You didn't check the propane? Who wants chips?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Salt and vinegar?
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
Welcome back to another exciting game day. Grab your rally towels, throw on your jerseys, cheer, shout, and save on your gas. That's right, sports fans win big on home game days. Score instant savings of 25 cents per gallon on Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline with the Fuel Rewards program. And that's a victory for you and your tailgate team. Download the app, join the Fuel Rewards program today, and game on. Restrictions apply. Limited time. At participating Shell stations. For more details, visit fuelrewards.com.
Model year-end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year-end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-0000. 7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. Sunpoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Chad, what's going on for Ram Power Days?
The savings just keep getting better and better. Right now, you can save up to $17,000 off MSRP on new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorns. And yes, I said the very nicely equipped, updated 2025 Rams.
Man, that is some of the best savings you've had all year.
Yep, and you won't find better deals on more Ram trucks than at the Hoblet Ram Truck Center. There's a reason we continue to be one of the biggest Ram dealers in the country, with numerous customer service awards, including the very prestigious Walter P. Chrysler Award, which means we are in the top 1% of dealers in the nation.
Don't miss the savings at Hoblet. Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
17,000 total net savings after 12,500 factory rebates and 4,500 dealer discounts. Rebates include 2,000 Chrysler Capital bonus cash. Must finance through Chrysler Capital. 3,000 in Hoblet inventory select coupons and 2,000 in Hoblet trade-in assistance coupons. Must have qualifying trade-in. At least 5 of the net savings. Coupons only while supplies last. See dealer for details.
DeRozan now takes the dribble to the right side, hesitates, dribble still alive, turns, leans, scores, and he's fouled again. That's vintage DeMar DeRozan right there.
Vintage. Thank you, G-Man. A little bit of NFL news quickly before we get into more of the sounds and sights from last night. So, Stefon Diggs. And Chris, I mean, maybe that's part of the whole NFL ticket thing. Things happen, and I have no clue that they happened. So I don't recall necessarily seeing Stefon Diggs, but so much happens on a Sunday, it's hard to keep up with. So Stefon Diggs is out for the season, and he's on an expiring contract. He has torn his ACL. So Stefon Diggs is out for the season for any Texans fans out there. Texans just seemed like they were a team that just their wide receivers just couldn't stay healthy. They had the most wide receivers, or they had an elite wide receiver group, but Nico Collins would go in, Stefon Diggs was out. Stefon Diggs would go in, Tank Dell would come out. So rough stuff there for Texans and CJ Stroud in a season where they're winning, but it just, I don't see them beating. I mean, I know the AFC is pretty top heavy this season, but I don't even know if I see the Texans beating the Steelers, right? I mean that's how good the Steelers have looked with Russell Wilson.
Know how many games the Steelers have lost on Monday Night Football?
I saw that they've won 22 in a row.
They've never lost on Monday Night Football since 1992.
Wow.
That is insane.
Yeah.
They have a lot of crazy stats in Steeler Town. Like they've had like 6 head coaches. It honestly might be less. They have like 6 head coaches in their franchise history.
Just if Freiermuth could just do something, man, that guy.
Not for me, he couldn't. And for my buddy. And for some more NFL news quickly before we get back to Kings and Trailblazers. Chris's boy, who was a souped up Joe Milton with better PR. Anthony Richardson has been benched. Yeah. He was tired, and he will get a lot of time to rest, Chris. I mean,
really scam Newton.
What did? I mean, look, we'll talk about it during our NFL Blitz segment, but I saw your vision.
Yeah.
He just wasn't my guy. And I've had misses too.
Look,
I thought
I've been on trades.
Terrell Pryor.
You know, hey,
Taj,
I was right there with you with TP,
Terrell Pryor.
Come on.
Taj Boy.
Come on.
Braxton Miller.
Well,
those are
a common theme there. just like the most athletic quarterbacks you could find.
You know what? Real quick, and then I promise we'll get back into what happened last night. For some odd reason. I was watching Boise State. Because I wanted to see Jonty.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him over the weekend. Who is there on the panel? You'll never guess.
Brady Quinn.
No. Even better. Cardale Jones. I looked up Cardale Jones. He played one game in the NFL. One game.
Wow.
One game. He won the national championship. He tried to ride his hot hand. He played one game, ended up in the CFL, XFL, and he was cooked. And he didn't even start a game. He never started a game. But he's still on the CBS panel. It was I thought he at least messed around and started a game.
Yeah, I mean, my brain kind of hurts. Like, because, I mean, yeah, I mean, first off, it's just not a name that I've heard in a minute. And
he played 11 college games and said, I'm out.
I'm out. I did it. I did enough. And I mean, you know, it was, wow. Yeah, that's a blast from the past right there. I was not a huge Cardale Jones guy. I forgot his nickname was 12 Gauge, too, which is great. It was so good because he had a cannon. But
he did.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. That's how you know things have gone terribly, terribly wrong, is if you're on set and you're 28. You're Cam Rising's age.
Well, I think he just
on the booth.
Yeah, I think he just got released from either XFL or somebody from.
Sure.
It was 2023.
Happy birthday, Cardale Jones, for what it's worth. Happy birthday today.
Wow, Jason,
he can't
make celebrity birthdays, Jason.
Crazy. Come on.
He's not good enough for you, Jason.
You have to play 3 NFL games.
Okay, all right.
That's the rule.
I bet he
Fair
had
enough.
JT Barrett on there though.
That's now here's a guy who that was a leader of men
Just
right
Ohio
there.
State quarterback.
Just all of them. I'm thinking one of them's going to hit, and CJ finally did. Okay, so first of all, let's get into this Blazers conversation because I was very confused as to what I was watching last night. I asked you, Chris. I said, "How are these guys supposed to get better if they're getting blown out every game?" And they still manage the starters. You had Kamara, who I'm not really sure what he's supposed to be good at, but you had Kamara play 21 minutes, Jeremy Grant 29 minutes, Denny Avdia, who I am a Denny Avdia guy. Okay, DeAndre Ayton, who I think he gets a bad rap because of his price tag, and Anthony Simons, who Chris, has Anthony Simons entered into your chucker chat? You know, you got who else is in there? Julius Randle.
Oh, but they're different though.
Okay.
There's like different. I mean, like, you know, I think a guy like
Donovan
Anthony
Mitchell.
Simons, he fits more into the Donovan Mitchell category. He fits, the Cam Thomases of the world. The let's see here, who's another one like him? Colin Sexton can get like him, but Colin's not really like a 3-point chucker in the same capacity. There's a couple guys out there that are, you can call them the Anthony Simons All-Stars or something like that. The Cam Thomas All-Stars, because he's definitely in the category of people who just D'Angelo Russell at one point in his career just loves to see the ball leave his hands. That's really it. I don't know he doesn't really care what the result is. He just really, really enjoys putting them up.
Yeah, and they're running Jeremy Grant as a 2 guard right now, and Anthony Simons is the point guard. They're bringing Scoot off the bench in kind of a I guess Malik Monk capacity, because he played 28 minutes and he's putting up numbers mostly because they're in blowouts and he gets left in. And I gotta say, this is no disrespect whatsoever, but if you look at some of the different twins in the world, Chris, I don't know if Chris Murray is going to be in the league for much longer. I don't see it. And he's a lefty too, but I don't think he's very good. I'm just going to.
I kind of agree with you too, where even coming into the league, he had a little bit of the dull Swiss Army knife in him. Like, I think we all kind of saw that. Okay, like Chris he's definitely not the shooter that Keegan is, but he seems to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe a little bit more using of his athletic tools and things like that, moved with a little bit more confidence, but it hasn't really translated into anything. You can kind of see that he really does, at a different level, fall into the master of none, jack of all trades kind of guy, where I just don't really know on the NBA floor, especially on a team like the Blazers, where they don't really need specialists. They just need guys who can actually help produce as many things as possible. It just feels like Chris doesn't really have a lane that he fills on that team. He's not really good enough to be a spot-up shooter in terms of his shooting ability. He's not really crafty enough or athletic enough or a good enough ball handler to create his own offense. He's just kind of a lunch pail guy. You know, he's just kind of somebody who
he put up
dirty work, but he's also on the worst team in the NBA, or one of the worst teams, and he's barely having impact.
This brother is getting 25 minutes. He got 25 minutes last night. He put up one of the worst layup attempts I've ever seen, and that's coming, and that's saying something. Well, I was gonna say that's one thing that they do have in common. But you know what it is, Chris? Keegan is the Jaden McDaniels.
There you go. It's nice to be on the other side
To
of things.
Chris's Jalen McDaniels. And I don't mean this. I don't see it. And then you
He
got
also played 25 minutes, like you mentioned yesterday. In the previous 3 games, he played 9, 15, and 15.
So
I wonder if maybe there's a little, family came out to go.
We're going to lose it. We're going to get cooked anday. So you might as well have some good pictures and some family time. Donovan Clingan, 12. This guy's getting 12 minutes. I don't know if they're trying to trade DeAndre Ayton. I told you I thought they left him out there a little bit longer. I thought it was interesting that Denny Advia only gets 25 minutes, and then you have DeAndre Ayton getting 34. That kind of reeked of we're kind of trying to show we're wanting to keep DeAndre Ayton's numbers up in case somebody is interested, because Donovan Clingan getting 12 minutes makes absolutely no sense. And the reason they lost is because you can't play Duop read 2 minutes and expect to win a ball game. Not against the Sacramento Kings.
No, you got to run that man 30, and you got to get Skylar. You got to figure out where Skylar Mays is at.
Find Skylar Mays
and get some real hoopers out there.
And then you can take care of business. All right, and the last thing, we had Chris. I'll let you tell the story because you have to, because you had an unnamed Blazer media guy.
Okay, we're gonna do the Blazer guy first.
Okay, the unnamed Blazer media guy.
Yes,
and
passionate.
A lot of people don't show a lot of emotion.
It's almost taboo.
You're not supposed to. Yeah. This guy was. I mean, I appreciate it. He clearly is a fan.
Yes,
right.
Sure.
But he's he does his job. But you started pointing him out to me, and as the game just went left. Okay, he's tweeting.
He's a hoop head, clearly.
Yeah, he's tweeting. There's no way that's a foul.
Yeah.
That's a waste of a challenge. And then when Mike Brown got the challenge right, he's throwing his hands up. It was a party. And then you had people freaking out because it wasn't Frankie who was freaking out when the Yankees lost. What was happening in the media section?
I don't know. I think that's what happens when first halves are really, really boring and crazy, is that people just need to be entertained. And yeah, I mean, that Blazer reporter, bless him, he seemed like he actually knew basketball quite a bit, which is why I think he was so frustrated. He was really frustrated with like the little things like, oh, why are you driving there? Or like, oh, why don't you kick out and pass? Or, oh, that's a clear foul. Yeah, it was all Anthony's. It was just absolutely insane. And yeah, on the Sacramento side of things, there was some media that was a little bit too ramped up yesterday for the Yankee game. Kind of forgot that they were at a basketball game for a second there. And I told Frankie, and again, this is not a bid. It was not Frankie, but I told Frankie, I'm like, why did you show up today? Because you're only going to be watching the baseball game.
We said not to. All right. Are the Kings back? Were they ever off track? On the other side, Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Keegan Murray plays here.
Keegan scores another 3-pointer. Keegan Murray knocking it down for 23 points. Match De'Aaron Fox for game scoring honors.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Tesla, keeping it real tour.
Right now.
Saturday, November 9th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Tesla, live. The multi-platinum rock band returns with special guest, Fuel. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Tesla, keeping it real tour.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win. Unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion, persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit KHTK.com.
Don't let cold season make you miserable. Try the quick, drug-free solution for nasal congestion, Navage. Navage uses gentle suction to flush out your sinuses with refreshing saline, helping you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier all winter long. And here's even better news. Navage is now available at select Costco locations in a great new value pack. It's everything you need to start breathing better fast. Check out Navage at your local Costco today. Navage, Navage, breathe easy.
Don't let summer energy slip away. Live the active life you love year-round with a personally fit arch support system from the Good Feet store. Precision engineered to support all 4 arches. Good Feet puts your feet in a more ideal, comfortable, and pain-free position. And Good Feet arch supports are now HSA and FSA eligible. Book a free fitting at goodfeet.com or come in and get a free pair of OS First Performance socks. Free. Normally a $25 value at the Good Feet store.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Fox with the rebound. 8 seconds to go. Will De'Aaron go solo? No, he gives it up to DeRozan. Looks at the clock, skips along with the dribble. Up fake once, up fake twice. Fires to beat the buzzer. He scores as the lights came on and the horn sounded. What a classic move in the final seconds from DeMar DeRozan, who ends up with a 19-point first half. 14 of the 19 came in the second quarter, and that certainly helped bring some life to this building after we had kind of just run through the second quarter.
Yeah, I'm going to need that cut from G-Man immediately. In the second quarter, but the Kings take care of business, and we ask the question. It's 11 o'clock. That means it's your time. It is Kings basketball time as they get their first W. They beat the downtrodden Trailblazers 111-98, but a win is a win. The vibes are vibey. Everybody is feeling good. Let's open up the phone lines. By the way, UC Davis tickets, family 4-pack. They face Northern Colorado this Saturday. Going to be a little bit brisk. The weather has turned. Chris is excited about the weather turning. Nate, I think Nate is too. I think Nate's a little excited. Nate's very excited.
Changed his hair.
About the, yeah, that's true. Got to change. Got to change with the color of the leaves. Change with the color of the leaves. But you can be out there with the hot chocolate, whatever you need on Saturday. Family 4-pack and parking passes against Northern Colorado. That's coming up at 1 p.m. All right, Chris. So I asked the question, and like I said, everybody's feeling positive. But we know there's always somebody that's going to keep things realistic, if you will. This is from the 916. Let's get your texts, your calls, your sack chat in, and go ahead and hop on the poll that Nate posted as well on the sack chat. But this is from the 916. It's premature to say the Kings are back on track after blowing a late third quarter 11-point lead to the Wolves and then giving up a 21-0 run to the Lakers. We beat a terrible Blazers team at home. If we win on a back-to-back tonight on the road, we can start, in all caps, that convo. If we don't, we are 1-3 and 2 blown games plus loss leads. Well, I hear you, 916, and I think I'm with you, 916. I just, for a moment, I was just living in the moment, if you will, Chris. I mean, I didn't know if we were going to see. The beam was dusty as heck. We finally got to see one. But, yeah, if the Kings lose tonight and give up their first W or give up a loss and give the first W to the Jazz after what the Jazz endured last night, losing one of their main guys and really just trying to bounce back. They're off a back-to-back too. Yeah, then we're back in the same conversation. But that hasn't happened yet. That has not happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even feel like things are off the rails yet. I mean, I think, or off the track, I guess.
Right.
I feel like, yeah, sure, you would want to be 2-0, but I don't think that the Kings have put themselves necessarily too far behind any sort of 8-ball to the point where they can't get back. I don't think they're off track right now. I think they're off track if they start losing to these bad teams. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess you're kind of right, but the texter that is, but I just kind of don't think that they ever really were at the point to where, oh no, you were off of the plan and now we need to even just get readjusted to the starting point of the plan. Like I feel like, at being 0-2 against two quality opponents, you probably could have, I think a lot of people would have said, okay, split those two, but I don't feel like you're that far back being 0-2, and you, again, have a really, really good opportunity in front of you with some easy teams to easily get back up. And so I just wouldn't have even said that they were ever off track. I just think it was two disappointing losses, but, 2 losses in the middle of the season aren't going to change the course of everything. 2 losses at the beginning of the season shouldn't either. So I don't know. I mean, if they would have lost last night, I definitely would have had time for it. But right now, even if they lose tonight, they still have so many more opportunities right in front of them to get back. I just don't think that it's even at the time where you could say they are off the track. Maybe you can say the wheels are a little squeaky and maybe your steering wheel is veering left a little bit, but I don't think that they're ever off track right now.
I'm looking here, Chris, because last week you did the first 11 games.
Yes. Yeah.
And did I say something crazy like 8-3? Or I think I did because somebody slid into my mentions and said, Alan, didn't you say after the 2 losses and said, Alan, you said they'd be 8-3, and I said, and I was wrong.
Keeping track.
And then somebody else responded and said, well, technically they can still be 8-3, and that can continue tonight. And why I felt optimistic about it, you get the Jazz tonight. You're both off a back-to-back. Then you got to go to Hotlanta, shout out Lou Will, and get some lemon pepper wings after the W.
Celebrate with some lemon peppers.
There you go.
You said wings aren't a basketball food. We changed that.
You know what? I wanted some a couple days ago, and I might get some tonight. I'll get some tomorrow night for the Hotlanta game.
There we go.
There you go.
Media food last night was bomb, though. I thought I really liked it. I liked it. I had the veggie one. I enjoyed it.
Jason Ross disagreed.
Jason Ross, he
very much disagreed.
He didn't even have it. All right. So
really?
you get the Hawks.
I was surprised.
On
Did he
Friday.
have the chicken one? Sorry,
Nate. Enough.
Sorry.
You get the Hawks on Friday. You get the Raptors on Saturday. That's another shady back-to-back, Chris. But again, when it comes to back-to-backs, you got to win those type of back-to-backs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about. A Hawks team who Trae Young, they can pop. I'm pretty sure they lost. They might have lost to the Wizards last night.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Jordan
lost.
Poole hit a game winner,
and that's my guy.
The shot to put him up.
The pool party.
has it.
Thank you. The pool party took care of business there. So they have the Raptors, and then they get the Miami Heat. Okay, and they've struggled against the Miami Heat. That's on a Monday after a long weekend. We got to figure out when they will fly into Miami. But you look right there, Chris. That's definitely three wins, or it should be 3 wins, I should say.
Yeah.
Then you get the Heat. If you want to give them that Heat L, that would then give them the 3rd loss, and that would put them, I believe, at 4-3. You get the Raptors again at home. That's 5-3. The Clippers will be tough. That's where that 4th loss is maybe on the line. Should be easier. That could be 6-3. And then, yes, the issue is when you go to Club Phoenix and figure out if they are going to take care of business against a Suns team who I would say, Chris, they're off to a decent start. Nothing crazy, but we know that the Suns can pop. And Kevin Durant, I know you've been talking about the
Olympic
fatigue, but it hasn't showed up yet. Kevin Durant has been balling.
Yeah, no, at the beginning of the season, it's not going to show up. I mean, at the beginning of the season is when these guys should shine the most because they're the ones who are in form. They were playing competitive basketball throughout the summer. It's more so at the end of the year where I expect it to show out. But right now, I mean, especially even throughout the regular season, it might not show as warts. A lot of guys actually have career years after their Olympic run. It's more just so that the deep playoff runs is where they start to feel it on their legs. That's where I'm more concerned. But it's no surprise that really anybody who is on the Olympic team is going off right now because, yeah, again, they were playing hyper competitive basketball throughout the summer where a lot of guys were just doing drill work. And so, I think Phoenix has looked like a good opponent. They obviously have a new coach in Mike Budenholzer this year, and their only losses to the Lakers, which they already redeemed yesterday. I think that they're going to be a really tough opponent, and I think we said it before the season started, but I feel like Phoenix is going to be the toughest team for the Kings to take down in the Pacific Division. And there's a lot of people who feel like Phoenix could be a top 3 seed in the Western Conference easy. I can see it with the talent they have. They just have to stay healthy, and they've been healthy so far. Granted, only through 4 games, but they definitely are a really tough team. And I don't know how many times the Kings played them last year when they were at full strength.
Yeah, the Suns 2-1, and their opponents have been nothing to sneeze at. 3-1. They beat the Lakers. They lost to the Lakers. They've beat the Mavericks. So yeah, they're definitely in a position, and they beat the Clippers as well. So they're definitely feeling good about where they're at, but it's early. And we'll check in with the rest of the West and see what's going on there. But as far as what the Kings have done, Chris, it is going to be tough if they lose tonight, because I'm the type of person who, their high highs and their low lows, and I understand why there are people out there that want to see the Kings go on this crazy run. But at the same time, this is stuff that they weren't doing last season. They would beat a random Timberwolves team, and then they would lose to a Blazers team. Yeah. And then they would beat the Nuggets, and then they would lose to the Jazz. And these types of games where they had these stretches where they could take advantage of the schedule, I vividly remember sitting here with you and saying, this is an opportunity for the Kings to go on a nice little run. They just wouldn't do it.
No. Yeah,
they couldn't do it. They wouldn't do it.
Nope, they would always have these dumb losses that would get in their way. And, that's the kind of thing that can just absolutely derail a season. And you can argue that it did derail their season last year. And that's the kind of attention to detail, the kind of focus that they're supposed to bring this year. And we'll see it. Tonight's a prime opportunity. You get a nice win. I'm not going to say a big win, but you get a nice win at home before you hit this long road trip. Can you carry the momentum, or are you going to kind of get complacent and say, okay, we got the win off of our back. That was kind of holding us back a little bit, making us a little tentative. We were so tight because we were trying so hard to get that win. Now we can kind of take a breath. No, you got to bring that same attention, same desperation that you guys talked about less than 24 hours ago, and you have to bring that into this game because, again, the Utah Jazz don't have a win, and Will Hardy is a really, really good coach. He's going to get those guys focused, ready, and really trying to get a win tonight. They're going to say, hey, guys, you guys are tired. Well, guess what? They're on the second night of a back-to-back 2, and, you mentioned it earlier in the show. It's really, really unfortunate that it has to happen this way, but with Taylor Hendricks going down with such a brutal injury yesterday, it might deflate that team. It might have them kind of looking around and being like, man, we just lost one of our brothers yesterday. But it also might have them say, hey, you know what? Let's go out there and let's go play for Taylor. Let's go hustle the way that he would want us to, almost like he's a fallen soldier. I really think that it could really invigorate the Utah Jazz team that just needs a little bit to kind of get a little wind behind their sails to make tonight tough. But the Kings have better team. They have better talent. They should be able to handle business tonight. But again, like you just said, we saw last year there were so many opportunities laid right in front of them to go on runs, and they just never, ever, ever took it.
Yeah, this is an early opportunity for the Kings to do just that. If you are a Kevin Huerter fan, okay, if you are part of the Kevin Huerter fan club, this next segment is just for you. We have some incredible advanced statistics at how Kevin Huerter is helping this team, not just from the shot making, but from the defensive end as well. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sackdownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Stream the best of British TV on BritBox. Watch captivating dramas and gripping mysteries, whether it's entire series of massive hits like Sherlock and Vera, new seasons of originals like The Responder, starring international Emmy winner Martin Freeman, or an extraordinary selection of beloved treasures featuring Idris Elba, Jodie Comer, Matthew McFadden, Benedict Cumberbatch, and more. Only on BritBox. Watch with a free trial at BritBox.com.
DeMar has it, comes to Huerter. Now he launches for 3 and knocks it down. Kevin Huerter, now in double figures, has 11 points. He's made 3 triples in this game. It's only the 5th one Sacramento's made in 16 total attempts.
Kevin Huerter.
916 from Esteban. This season has more feeling of the Beam team than last season. There is room for improvement and growth. Last year, not so much. Last season, I think everybody just felt a little bit stuck. Like we said, I almost gave Monty McNair a bit of a pass because you had to run it back, Chris. You pretty much had to run it back. And even though I felt like you had to because of that success, then when you didn't, people said, well, why didn't you make a move? So I think it was a tough spot, but we move on. New season, new players, DeMar DeRozan, Dougie McBuckets. Okay, you're going to get Devin Carter back at some point, and everybody is rocking and rolling. Speaking of rocking and rolling, you know who else you got back? Did you get old school Kevin Huerter back? Did you get Beam Team Kevin Huerter back? Maybe I got my swagger back. What's up with Kevin Huerter, Chris?
Kevin Huerter, Huerterer, as some will call him, had a great game yesterday, had 18 points, which is a season high, obviously. Might actually look up when the last time Kevin even had 18 points in a game, period, because as we know, last year he struggled so much. I can't imagine many games ended with him finishing with that many points and that efficiently as well. It was really, really easy looks for him. He was hitting his threes. He did a good job of driving the lane and creating some floater opportunities for himself. So I thought it was a pretty complete game. And not to mention as well, I thought Kevin Huerter, let me look up how many deflections he had yesterday as well. He did a great job of just creating chaos on the defensive end. And that's obviously been a bit of Kevin Huerter's Achilles heel is can he not be a liability defensively? I thought yesterday he was actually really, really good. And especially in the deflection game, I just thought he was the Kings' best player in doing that. He did, let's see here, led the team. No, he did not lead the team. He had 3 deflections yesterday. De'Aaron and DeMar both had 4. But yeah, again, 3 block shots listed for Kevin Huerter. I don't really remember any of them, so maybe he kind of he kind of got a little bit of the hometown scorekeeper benefit from that. But I thought it was just a good game from Kevin yesterday, and we have these numbers, these advanced numbers to back it up. And for what it's worth, the last time Kevin Huerter had 18 or more in a game was February 22nd, the 55th game of the season last year against the San Antonio Spurs. So it's been a good long time, about 8 months since Kevin Huerter has been able to put up those kind of numbers. Really, really good to see. And defensively, again, as we mentioned, his defensive numbers yesterday were through the roof. When players were defended by one Kevin Huerter yesterday, they were a combined 5 of 16 from the field. You absolutely love to see that. 31% was his defensive field goal percentage. Defenders were also, opposing players were also 1 of 4 from 3 when guarded by Kevin Huerter. So you just love to see that. Clearly, they were attacking him. Let me check here. Only Domantas Sabonis had more field goal attempts against him. And, of course, him being at the rim, there's just so many random ones that get chalked up to him that aren't really his responsibility. 5 of 16 defender Kevin Huerter was on the defensive side of things. He had 3 blocks, 3 deflections, and a 97.1 defensive rating, which is absolutely phenomenal and is one of the best on the team from yesterday. Let's see here. Only De'Aaron and Keegan had higher in the starting lineup. So it was just a really good overall performance from Kevin yesterday, hitting shots, but also performing on the defensive end. And, I think Keon definitely came in and still made an impact as well. Don't want to forget about him because it, like you said earlier, it really isn't a him or Kevin thing. But I think it makes it a lot harder for Mike Brown to give Keon Ellis minutes if Kevin Huerter is going to play like that on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I'm not taking anything away from Kevin Huerter, but I will say this. As the old saying goes, iron sharpens iron. Yeah. And I do think that there is a piece of this where it's Kevin heard footsteps. Yeah. Right?
I will
Kevin
also say
footsteps.
Keon had 3 deflections in 15 minutes.
So
he had the same amount of deflections as Kevin in less than half the
right.
time.
And I think, Kevin heard footsteps. And I think there's nothing wrong with admitting that. There's nothing wrong with having that conversation. And life is about pressure, and how you perform under pressure. As the saying goes, pressure either bursts pipes or makes diamonds. And Kevin Huerter, and what we're seeing the latter. We're seeing somebody that not only is doing it for himself, but is also doing it for the rest of the team and his teammates, and he knows what he is capable of. Yeah. So I think that's just kind of really impressive. Obviously, it's so early,
such a small,
but the way that he has kind of balled out so far kind of tells us exactly who he is as an NBA player right now. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Steven, who wants to kick off the calls for today, talking about the Sacramento Kings. What's up, Steven? Happy Tuesday. Stiles and Watkins, what you got?
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, happy Tuesday to you boys. I think it's Tuesday.
It is.
Dude, I am, maybe I'm just riding on the high that we finally got to light the beam, but I felt like that was a really, really kind of, dude, I'm satisfied. Very happy we finally got to light that beam. The one point that I was really calling about was, I love the fact that we weren't the Robitussin this time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we were the ones that took the Robitussin. We weren't the ones that the other team needed a get-right game. We needed the get-right game this time round because we were over the past few years, man, it's just that it always seems like, all the teams that, that are right on the struggle bus for weeks or days on end, or they're just they just need a get right game. Well, come to Sacramento, man. We could get right in there, and everyone plays their best game here in Sacramento. It felt like the opposite. It felt like we needed the get right game, and unfortunately, Portland was our Robitussin, was our medicine. Mm-hmm. And I really think that was kind of the jolt that we needed. It was really nice to see almost everybody knocking down at least a 3. Everyone had a deep ball. Firing last night, and it was that right there was nice to see. I'm not a fan of the live by the 3, die by the 3, because 3 is more than 2. Like, that makes sense and all, but now that you have someone like DeMar DeRozan that is literally the king of the mid range, and that can literally drive down that lane, and then stop on a dime, and then just pull up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Pick and pop it right there, down low. It really opens up the game. It really opens up the floor for everybody else.
Right.
Especially for someone like De'Aaron. You got Sabonis, who is just an assist monster with excellent vision, So, I mean, it was just really an overall satisfying game last night. There are still some things that we could work on. We're still fine-tuning everything. It was nice to see Ellis get some solid minutes last night, too. So, It was, dude, what a great game. Again, thank you for the time, boys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Steven. As always, everybody was getting in the mix last night, and it really was a feel-good game. And great stuff there. It sounded like Edgar Allan Poe, the Robitussin and the Tylenol.
I was just thinking, put some tussin on it.
Yeah, it is cold season, so you got to be careful out there. Get some emergency. Thanks, Steven. On the other side, speaking of the medicine, will De'Aaron Fox be the medicine for this Sacramento Kings fan base and give them what they've always wanted? Well, it starts with 10,000 points, and he did it last night. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Domantas Sabonis plays here.
He finds Sabonis, put the frosting on the cake, put the cherry on the sundae. Sabonis with a two-hand flush makes it 114-106.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Model year-end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year-end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
There's no need to be scared of auto maintenance this October. Your local Jiffy Lube has just the treats you need without the tricks, like fast oil changes or wiper blades for the upcoming rainy season. Serving greater Sacramento area customers since 1984 with over 30 convenient locations to choose from. Open daily, early at 7:30 and open past 6 p.m. at most locations. Just visit jiffylube.com to find a location near you and valuable coupons to save money too.
At the law offices of Dale R. Gomes, we understand that when you're facing a crisis, you need more than just a lawyer. You need a team. Our dedicated attorneys work together, combining decades of experience to guide you through personal injury or criminal defense matters with care and expertise. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way, ensuring your voice is heard and your rights are protected. With offices in Sacramento and El Dorado County, reach out to the law offices of Dale R. Gomes today, 916-999-9033, or online at dalegomslaw.com.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Don't let summer energy slip away. Live the active life you love year-round with a personally fit arch support system from the Good Feet store. Precision engineered to support all 4 arches. Good Feet puts your feet in a more ideal, comfortable, and pain-free position. And Good Feet arch supports are now HSA and FSA eligible. Book a free fitting at goodfeet.com or come in and get a free pair of OS First Performance socks. Free. Normally a $25 value at the Good Feet store.
Fox gets a screen from Sabonis, launches the three, and scores the triple. De'Aaron Fox with his second made three-pointer on the night. Now has 18 points. Back to a 2-possession advantage 5 minutes into this second half. 63-58 Sacramento.
from the 916. Kevin should be the starter. No way should Keon start over Kevin. Keon had summer league and preseason to show growth, but failed to do so. Keon better hope he doesn't end up on a two-way contract. That's what happens when I read stuff on the fly. Yeah, I don't know, 916. I think we can say that Kevin Huerter, never should have lost his spot. I'm okay with you saying that, but let's not act like, look, the bottom line is if Kevin Huerter can't lose his spot due to injury from last season to this season, let's not act like Keon Ellis is going to go from being who he was and filling in for Kevin Huerter to back on a two-way deal, which he got converted to guaranteed last season. Because I don't even think he played poorly. We went over the preseason and summer league with Keon Ellis. We don't know what Mike Brown necessarily said he wanted to see from Keon, but this is more about Kevin Huerter doing his job than Keon Ellis. Like I said, this is not Kevin versus Keon. It's never been Kevin versus Keon. It's just who's going to give the most production. So you can say Kevin Huerter should be the starter. There's no reason to throw a stray at Keon Ellis when all he's done is what he's been asked to do. Maybe if Chris Duarte was worth anything on the basketball court, we never would have got there with Keon Ellis or any of the guys that they took swings at last season and didn't work out. It's not Keon Ellis' fault. Everybody stunk last season, and that's just what it is.
Keon also had some good summer league games too, so I don't know what he's talking about. Keon had a 30-point summer league game. I'm also seeing here he had a 29-point summer league game. So Keon played well in summer league. He didn't play well in preseason, but I don't think preseason or summer league should determine whether or not you're going to start or not. So yeah, I don't necessarily. I just don't agree that's what put Keon in a bad position. I just think that it's Mike Brown likes Kevin Huerter in that lineup, and especially seeing how offensively it's looked these past couple games. I think that's all the explanation you really need for why Mike Brown likes it. And again, it's maybe not even a negative to Keon. It's just he might like what that starting lineup looks like better than anything else.
Yeah, there you go. I think that is fair enough. All right, from one Kings guard to another Kings guard to another Kings guard. De'Aaron Fox hits 10,000 points on the all-time Kings list. De'Aaron Fox joined Mitch Richmond as the only other player in Sacramento era to reach 10,000 points. Oscar Robinson with 22,000 points. Jack Twyman with 15,000 points, and Nate Tiny Archibald with 10,000 points. And I'm rounding here. Really, it was 22,009 for Oscar Robinson, 15,840 for Jack Twyman, and Nate Tiny Archibald with 10,894, and Mitch Richmond with 12,070. So De'Aaron Fox joins this group. We have some sound from De'Aaron Fox immediately after the game, and then during his post-game presser after a little bit of time to decompress. Here is the immediate post-game.
We got to get courtside to my guy, De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron, thanks for joining us, man. Congrats on this win. This place is crazy right now, dude. You guys get the light, the beam. For you, a historic night, passing 10,000 points for your career. What does that mean, man?
Oh, man, I think it's special. Obviously, not a lot of people get to do it, and being able to do it all in one place has definitely made it even more special. But I think it's great that we were able to get a win, while getting that accomplishment.
That's De'Aaron Fox right after the game, and here is De'Aaron Fox in the post-game presser with everybody else.
I mean, honestly, I forgot that I was actually close, but to do it at home and obviously to do it in a win makes it, even that much more special. So not a lot of people get to do that, and obviously the average span of an NBA career is like 3.5, like literally one contract. So being able to be blessed to be in the league that long and being able to put the ball in the basket that many times is definitely a blessing.
Chris, your thoughts on De'Aaron Fox getting to 10,000 points, and then we'll have a larger conversation, open up the phone lines for expectations for the Foxy one moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know it was going to be a thing. It's not really something that I was paying attention to, but I do think it's a nice accomplishment. I think it kind of comes with the longevity that he's going to be here. To me, I've pointed out the fact that he's to start the season, he was 72 or 77 games away. I think it was 72 games away from passing Jason Thompson as the all-time leading games played. I think they call it the Iron Man of your team. He's that to me is the more significant record. I mean, points is again kind of comes with the territory. It's obviously a nice accomplishment for De'Aaron. I don't think he's really somebody who cares much about things like this, but definitely a big accomplishment for him. But to me, the bigger Kings accomplishment is him becoming the most games played in Sacramento era. I think that's really the one that shows that speaks more to De'Aaron's legacy here, is the fact that he was willing to get drafted here, stay through some thin years, and then ultimately stay long enough to see the team be successful. And hopefully he's here for a couple more years to just absolutely blow that record out of the water. The points thing is super nice, but I didn't like, if you would have asked me before yesterday who has 10,000 points, I would have said Mitch Richmond, Chris Webber, Reggie Theus. Like, I would have thought that more people are involved in it. I guess the fact that those guys aren't involved does also speak to the accomplishment that it is, but I just don't really think that it's anything anybody was paying close attention to.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's be completely honest. We were at the game, and it kind of just came and went, and Nate was trying to find, hey, where did this thing happen? And we were in the building. So I think it's just, again, not to say tiny victory, only 5 other guys have done it, but we know we can say that because we know that De'Aaron wants more, right? We feel better saying stuff like, oh, how big of a deal is it, when we're hearing from De'Aaron that, hey, this is cool and all, but this isn't what I want my legacy to be. I don't want to settle down whenever it's all said and done and say, yeah, I was a 5th highest scorer on Sacramento Kings, which for most normal people would be great. Yeah. But I think it goes to what we talked about at the top of the show. If you missed it, go ahead and fire us up on the Sacktown Sports app or on YouTube. You can catch on up during the breaks. It goes to what we said at the beginning of the show. De'Aaron is being more open about wanting more. Yeah. And I think that you open up yourself for more criticism when you do that, but you're going to get criticized either way when you are the leader of a basketball team or an NBA team. So I think De'Aaron is just kind of embracing it, and I think it's great to see as we move on now to the expectations for De'Aaron Fox. 916-339-1140. It was just a couple weeks ago where we discussed De'Aaron Fox, and we had people on the text line. We had people calling in, dare I say, talking about having a conversation about trading De'Aaron Fox, right? And that was when we were in the throes of the preseason. We are now in the regular season rocking and rolling. And look, I that is not a conversation that we are going to have on a day like today, but I do feel like as far as the expectations for De'Aaron Fox, the reason I believe, and this has never really been Homer radio like that, the reason I believe that we've been tougher on De'Aaron Fox than others is because we see what's going on around the league. It's the golden age of the wide receivers in the NFL, and it's the golden age of the guards in the NBA right now. And there are a lot of really good guards, and you got to be elite if you want to stick out. And we've just said, De'Aaron, we're sitting here saying that you're better than Ja Morant. We had a Grizzlies writer come on, and I hate to do the if you know ball thing, but we had a Grizzlies writer say, I would take De'Aaron Fox over Ja Morant. He said that on these airwaves. So we all get that. But the perception of who you are because of how you play, and, Ja's got the dunks and Tyrese Halliburton has the terrible outfits. What is going to be, how are you going to cement yourself throughout this golden age? Because I even think the Trae Youngs of the world, because of how they shoot the 3 ball, how are you going to cement yourself? Well, how has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did it? By winning, right? And by putting up insane numbers, okay? So I think that De'Aaron Fox is getting to the point now where he's looking around thinking, I'm one of those ones. And I think it's time that everybody realizes that I'm one of those ones as well.
I hope so, man. I really do, because he's always just kind of been somebody who's super laid back, super low key, and he is kind of somebody who would tell you, like, I'll let my game speak for itself. Right. And I think his game kind of leaves a lot of things open-ended. Like, it's okay. I watched your play, and you're great. You're fantastic. You're definitely somebody who has an elite skill set, 100% undeniably. But, I do think that there's moments where, superstars just have these complete takeover moments. I mean, we even have seen it early with DeMar DeRozan, with him just having these moments. And it just feels like more so these past couple of years. And maybe it is just that De'Aaron is a little bit more team focused, and maybe he does like to share the ball a little bit more. But, I would also push back on that because of some of the 3-point shot selection he's taken. I just kind of feel like sometimes he leaves things a little bit too open for people to criticize his game. And I would just like to see him kind of tighten up how he plays. But I've loved everything that I've heard from him so far this summer. It does feel like he's taken a step in maturing and kind of understanding what this team needs from a perspective, from a perception standpoint, from in media. To go from last year, him kind of shooing away media and saying, I don't need to talk to you guys. Talking to you guys really doesn't do anything for me, to kind of using this year to maybe use us as a vessel to get a message across. I do think that's maturing, and hopefully, we're still so early into the season. Hopefully we see evolutions of it, because I do think that this team, they're going to hit some adversity, some much tougher adversity than losing 2 games in a row. And they're going to need De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan and Domantas Sabonis to verbally step up as well and change the course of potentially a season.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chris, when you said, I don't really care about the media back and forth. I was going to say, you said the PG version.
Yes,
you said
exactly.
the PG version of what De'Aaron had to say. Well, things have been going on around the NBA, and we take a trip around the NBA to close out the 11 o'clock hour. And then to start the 12 o'clock hour, we have more Kings talk, and we talk about how good that starting lineup has been. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Rob Thomas, a special intimate performance.
I don't wanna be lonely no more. I don't wanna have to pay for
benefiting Sidewalk Angels Foundation. One night only, Saturday, November 16th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Rob Thomas, live. For tickets now, visit ThunderValleyResort.com.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Sacramento State football is back at home this Saturday. Join us for Salute to Heroes Night and check out some high-flying action between your Sacramento State Hornets and the Portland State Vikings. And after the game, stick around for the post-game fireworks show. It's this Saturday, November 2nd at Hornet Stadium. 6 o'clock game time between Sacramento State and Portland State. Tickets on sale now at hornetsports.com. We'll see you there, and Stingers up.
When it's cold and rainy outside, Bonnie is leading the way home. Right now, stay warm and cozy with a full furnace tune-up, just $59. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Schedule an appointment today at Bonnie.com.
Ball knocked loose, but grabbed by Keon Ellis. Ellis hooks it back to Sabonis. Now he will shoot the three and scores the three. Sabonis has 9 in the quarter, 16 in the game. Sacramento's now made 9 of 23 three-pointers to lead it 84-69.
From the 916, are we not just slightly over a year removed from De'Aaron Fox winning Clutch Player of the Year? Let's not get ready to undress the guy. He's a solid leader, and he's doing his thing with the help that makes the team better. Jason in Rockland. I don't think Jason's talking to us, though. I don't think.
I didn't feel like we undressed him. No, I felt like I think we just kind of talked about how his leadership was last year, and it wasn't even on the floor thing. It's definitely more so we're just talking about how he kind of carried himself after the game, and I still think I think it was a fair conversation, and that was light, honestly. we get a lot more.
I think we have before
with all these guys.
Look, and I'm not saying that De'Aaron is riding around and whatever whip he's got saying I'm trying to show Stiles and Watkins who I really am, but it is possible. I think at the end of the day, I just think it's a growth thing. I just think it's a maturity thing. I mean, you're not the same person that you were yesterday. You're not the same person that you were last week, and definitely not last year. And De'Aaron, he already had his fam bam going, but the family got a little bit bigger, and he's daddy times 2 now, and he's just continuing to grow and evolve. And I think that really goes to say, Chris, as far as a lot of these players in the league, it's not the same as working a 9 to 5 or, working behind a desk or working a trade job, something like that. These guys get so much money so fast, and we don't really realize how young they are. I mean, and sometimes for me, it's easier for me because I got a nephew who I think just turned 25 last week, by the way. I called him. We had a good conversation. He was in Puerto Rico enjoying himself. I'm thinking, man, I'm washed up. He tried to tell me, he said, yeah, I'd be at the gym and dudes are starting to call me Unk. I'm like, all right,
come
if
on,
you're Unk,
25
then I'm
years old.
grandpa. Come on, what are we talking about here? But it kind of takes it out of perspective and puts it back in perspective how young these dudes are, and they're just continuing to evolve as players and as people every single season. So we hear you, Jason in Rockland. And he just responded saying definitely not aimed at you. So great stuff there as we continue the conversation. And Chris, you had a note here about the Kings starting lineup. I feel like they always have a starting lineup that cooks, but this one isn't just cooking offensively, it's cooking defensively as well.
Yeah, this is shout out Kevin Fippen, who writes or contributes over at the Kings Herald. Tweeted this out last night, and I think this one is still true. He says, I love winning. I love you all, but winning is more important than who plays and for how long. Of all the lineups that have played over 20 minutes together, the Kings' current starting 5 of Fox, Huerter, DeRozan, Keegan, and Sabonis has statistically been the 5th best defensive unit in the NBA. And he posts the NBA.com stats page of the defensive ratings of teams of lineups, that have played over 20 minutes together, and then sorts them by the best defensive rating. The number 1 defensive rating in the NBA is the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's not their starting lineup, but it's got some elements of their starting lineup and some guys that you probably wouldn't expect in there. The next one, number 2, is the OKC defensive lineup, I guess you could say, with their starters, Shea, Dort, Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and then they have Cason Wallace, who was their first-round pick last year. Number 3 is an Atlanta lineup. Number 4 is a Laker lineup that includes Dalton Knecht. And number 5 is the Kings' starting unit, DeRozan, Sabonis, Fox, Huerter, and Keegan Murray, with a defensive rating of 94.9, which, yes, is the 5th best defensive rating in the NBA. And that was sorted for lineups that have played over 20 minutes together.
Okay.
When you sort it to over 40 minutes together, that's where you really, really start to see that unit that the Kings have really shine. as their net rating is the second highest in the NBA, and defensive rating is number 1 amongst teams that have played, or lineups that have played 40-plus minutes together. You get the Kings starting lineup as number 1. Number 2, you get the Cavs starting lineup. Number 3, you get the Lakers starting lineup. And number 4, you get the Celtics. Yeah, that's their starting lineup with Al Horford, Holiday, Brown, Tatum, and Derek White. So the Kings defensive unit, their starting unit, I should say, has been the best defensive unit amongst rosters that have played 40-plus minutes together. I think that's a huge sign. And again, as we talked about earlier with Kevin Huerter, I think that just makes it really, really tough to make the argument that Kevin needs to play less or maybe play somebody else over him, which, again, I was on the other side of. I thought Keon Ellis was going to make this team the best possible defensive unit possible. And I think the fact that Kevin Huerter is involved and not just in the lineup, but again, like is part of the team leaders in deflections and getting blocked shots yesterday. I think the fact that he's actually involved in it is really, really a great sign for this team. And hopefully it lasts more than 3 games. Hopefully this can continue through 10 games, and then we'll just continue to track it throughout the season. But the Kings starting unit being the best starting unit amongst the defensive rating for lineups that have played 40-plus minutes together. I don't think that that's too cherry-picked. I think that the minutes filter is really just to kind of filter out some test lineups and maybe some lineups that played 4 or 5 minutes together and maybe it was closing time or things like that. So when you filter it through 40, you kind of get a better sense of rosters and lineups that have actually played a good bit together. And I think, again, the Kings being number 1 in defense, number 2 in net rating behind only Boston, and still putting up 119 of an offensive rating, which is 3rd amongst all starting lineups. I think that's absolutely terrific and a great sign for this team moving forward.
Yeah, I think it is a good sign, Chris. I would say that at the same time, I don't think the issue is the starting lineup right now. I think the issue is
their second best lineup is also the same lineup with Huerter out and Monk in. There's very similar numbers with that lineup.
Yeah. I think that right now it's just a matter of how much these guys are playing. Look, a night like tonight, where you played 30-plus minutes, high 30s against the Blazers, and then you got to fly out to Utah to take on a Jazz team on a back-to-back. Now that I'm thinking about it, Chris, are you a little bit surprised? I know we went back and forth before the show about Mike Brown waving the white flag, and I think it was at the 3-minute, 33-second mark where Mike Brown pulled his guys. Maybe it was before that, but off the top of my head, I kind of remember that.
I want to say it was after.
Okay, even after that, and then, everybody else came in. Are you a bit – I know you wanted to get the W and you wanted to make sure that was secure if you're Mike Brown, but are you a little surprised? And maybe I'm saying, the difference between 5 minutes isn't as big of a deal as I'm about to make it, but are you a little surprised he left the starters in that long knowing that they had to fly to Utah?
Very surprised. It didn't make any sense. Yeah, they checked out at the 2:49 mark.
That's crazy.
In the fourth quarter, and at that point, the Blazers had checked out at the 3:33 mark.
Okay.
So Klingon for Henderson, Banton for Ayton, Murray for Kamara all happened at the 3:33 mark. I was really surprised. It didn't make any sense, especially once the Blazers had already waved the white flag. They had called a timeout. It was 88-105 at that point with 3:33 left. Take out your starters. I mean, I get that you don't want to be the team that doesn't give up first, and the last thing you want is to pull your starters and then have the Blazers maybe go on a stupid 8-0 run, and then you have to put your starters back in. So Mike maybe was just being hyper cautious, but I didn't want to see it. I wanted to see them pulled much before that. I mean, again, I'm looking here at the scoreboard, just how it changes. At the 5-minute mark, it was 86-101. I think that's an acceptable moment to pull your guys. It just kind of felt like he was being a little bit too cautious there, a little bit too safe. But, I think it's not even hindsight being 2020. I think it's just kind of up to the coach to figure out or to determine how conservative he wants to be and maybe start to play for tomorrow or today, that is, and think about, hey, are these guys going to be tired? I think ultimately I end up falling on the side of, yes, it can definitely be a talking point, but we're talking about 2 minutes. And if somebody gets hurt, it looks really bad. And that's where hindsight is 2020. But I don't know if the Kings necessarily should win or lose today's game because Mike Brown decided to check them out at the 2:49 mark instead of the 4:29 mark.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. It was just, again, maybe it's different if they already had a W. They were just trying to make
sure. Yeah,
we are not messing
absolutely.
around. If Anthony Simons wanted to decide to actually make a bucket or whoever the heck was left in that game, you don't want that to happen. But yeah, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well,
it would have been nice.
You know, a couple people are starting to leave, and the guys are still in. And I kept checking. I said, is Keegan? He's still in.
Sure was.
De'Aaron Fox still in. But I think this was, my guess is that this was specifically a first game thing. Let's get this W. Let's not mess around. And then after that, we got to earn that type of trust, maybe. And you haven't earned that trust. Now they've been at different times, but we had issues with the first game. We had issues in the second game. So let's make sure we get this W and we can earn that faith, albeit against a pretty bad Blazers team, and see what we can do. Do you think, I was looking here, Chris, at Tankathon, and I know obviously it's a lottery, but the Blazers right now, I just did a simulation. Okay. I did a simulation, and the Blazers are number 6, or excuse me, I just did a sim lottery. And you'll never guess, and I'm not kidding. I know everybody's only 1-2 and 1-3. Chris Watkins, guess who just randomly on Tankathon when I sim lottery, guess who got the first pick? You ever watch Dune?
Kings.
You ever watch Dune?
I have not.
Ever watch the Prophecy, Nate? Just like we saw before with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. The Spurs have the number 1 pick to get one Cooper Flag, and Portland would have the second pick to get Ace Bailey or whoever they want. So maybe that'll help them, Chris, because it's going to be a long season for those boys out there. And look, I think, and I don't know how closely people were watching, but every now and then we'd get a text or a call saying, let's see what we can do to get Chris Murray on the squad. I hope you were just watching the game yesterday to see what Chris Murray was bringing to the table. I just think that the Blazers are a complete disaster, and what's going to happen is they're going to get a new coach once they get that top pick, and at some point they'll be good, but hopefully the Kings will have done plenty of winning by then. Speaking of winning, you got to do it with a good bench. After last night, are you feeling better about the Kings bench? We have sound from Mike Brown on Keon Ellis not getting minutes, and we take a trip around the NBA. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Kevin Huerter is Sacktown Sports.
Huerter's open, steps into 3. He's got the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Kevin Huerter, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Model year-end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year-end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Don't let cold season make you miserable. Try the quick, drug-free solution for nasal congestion, Navage. Navage uses gentle suction to flush out your sinuses with refreshing saline, helping you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier all winter long. And here's even better news. Navage is now available at select Costco locations in a great new value pack. It's everything you need to start breathing better fast. Check out Navage at your local Costco today. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Breathe easy.
Hey, Aggie fans, Coach Plow here. If you haven't made it out to a game yet, we've only got 2 opportunities left this season, starting November 2nd against Northern Colorado. We're excited to celebrate all those who helped make this campus great with faculty and staff appreciation and parent-family weekend. And for all you fans of the band, We've got local high schools joining us to ramp up the atmosphere. So grab your tickets today and join us by visiting ucdavis.com/tickets. Go Ags.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
The future of cool, comfortable sleep is here. Introducing the new Sleep Number Climate Cool Smart Bed. The only smart bed in the world that actively cools and effortlessly adjusts to both of you. Sleep up to 15 degrees cooler on each side. It actively cools to keep you cool and comfortable throughout the night. Save on smart beds now during our fall sale, exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Carmichael Dave here from my good friends at American Energy. Cool weather, if not cold weather, is in our future. You know that. It'll eventually get there, and American Energy wants to make sure your system is operating safely and properly. So now is the time to take advantage of the $49 fall tune-up inspection. That's regularly $119, but includes a full safety and duct inspection. And if your system's over 10 years old, it's free. The tune-up is on American Energy. Give them a call right now. They're offering $50 off your first recommended repair, or if you need a new furnace, that's half off the price of a new unit. American Energy been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You can check them out at the aeway.com for an instant quote. That's the aeway.com. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Henderson digs to the paint, feeds to the right corner. Walker for three. The rainbow is no good. And Malik Monk has it. And he's running. And the Kings have numbers. Drops it to Sabonis in the pocket. Wrap around back out to Monk. Spots up for three. He's got the triple. And the Kings have a commanding lead now of 18 points at 87-69.
1 hour away from UC Davis tickets taking on Northern Colorado. 4-pack, family 4-pack of tickets and parking passes. That's at 1 o'clock. So do not miss your chance to get those tickets. That's at 1. If you are listening on the Sacktown Sports app, switch on over around 12:45 for your chance to win those tickets. Chris, I'm looking here at the box score, and we have some sound that we're going to play from Mike Brown about the Keon Ellis situation, but I'm looking here at the box score as far as the bench is concerned. Chris, I know the Blazers were not good, so we can easily say, hey, let's see what the bench has in store for us tonight. But if you look at the bench, Trey Lyles getting 15 minutes. He was a +7. He did hit a 3-pointer.
Trey Lyles movement.
Thank you, Trey Lyles movement and Legend of Losing.
Did you guys see him rip his jersey?
Yes.
Obviously, right? That was a big thing. Does that mean he was a dog if he's playing like that? If he ripped it, he was mad. You saw Doug in the broadcast kind of laughing with him. Like, is that dog worthy?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's dog worthy.
Yeah.
I think it's more dog worthy if you come back and drop 15.
Right. Sure.
But yes, the showing you got that dog. I mean, we know, what was it, Chris, now 2-3 years ago when he get into it. Was it with Giannis? Who was that? And everybody kept bringing
it was with Brooke Lopez.
After
the game.
Yes. So we know
he's
got it. So 15 minutes for Trey Lyles, 1 of 4 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3-point land. He was a +7. Dougie McBuckets only played 3 minutes, but he made them count. Nice to see the ball go in the basket for him. 2 of 2 from 3-point land, and he had 6 points. Alex Len, 7 minutes, Chris. And then you have you have Jordan McLaughlin with 5 minutes. Malik Monk, of course, with 19 and 12 points. Malik Monk 3 for 5 from 3-point range. And Keon Ellis, 14 minutes, 1 for 2 from 3-point range for 3 points. Is it too early to, well, I guess depending on how worried you were or are about the bench, did yesterday make you feel any better about it, or are you just not that worried about it to begin with?
I mean, you definitely have to be concerned, and I don't think yesterday makes you feel any better. I mean, I don't think the bench, especially from a scoring productive standpoint, like the bench wasn't producing points, and I think the bench is always going to kind of be elevated by Monk, and you know, that's just kind of how this team is built right now. You know, if Keon can contribute a little bit more scoring off the bench, I think that would be ideal, but that's not really what he's out there to do, so I don't know how fair it is to try and judge the bench unit off of scoring, because I don't know how much that's really what they're being asked to do. Like, I think Keon comes in and is asked to be a disruptor, and if he has an open look, definitely take it. Trey is kind of the same thing. He's if he has an open three, absolutely take it. But I think Trey is more out there to grab rebounds and bring a level of physicality, crash the offensive glass. You know, I think Alex is kind of meant out there to be big. And you know, really, I think defensively is more so where he's called. So I think it's more just that Kings fans, and I'll definitely take some blame on this as well. We look more so as, is your bench good because of their scoring? That's the only way that a bench can be productive. And I'm not trying to twist this to say that the Kings bench has actually been good, because I don't think they've gotten production off their bench. But I just kind of think that the Kings don't look to their bench for scoring. They have so much of it in that starting unit, and then having Malik as well come in and be a scorer off the bench, a high volume scorer off the bench. I just kind of think that the other guys, the box score isn't going to be where you see those guys impact the most. I think it's going to be watching the game and seeing how their plus minus might honestly be a more better indication of how those guys actually play, because the Kings, I think in those moments, especially when they go to their bench, they just want to get productive minutes. And at the end of the day, as long as you're not losing them the lead, I think that's pretty much what they want from those guys, is just, can you be cohesive with the starting unit or whoever you're replacing in the starting unit, and then don't let us lose the game with your minutes. I think that's pretty much what the Kings bench has been asked. But long way of saying, I think the bench has been pretty disappointing, especially from a scoring perspective. But I just kind of feel like, in general, a lot of nights they're not going to produce scoring wise.
Yeah, and
like, who's it going to be?
Right. Well, and to your point, yeah, is that necessarily what it's built for right now? And that's why it's not the day to have the trade conversation, but that day is probably not far away, not even based on what they do or not. It's just based on, you're going to get up against these teams that are, and look, you even look at the Timberwolves, and they haven't, I still don't even know if Rob Dillingham has played yet, but there's definitely teams out there that will struggle to score off the bench. Then it's crazy now to talk about the Lakers like this, but you have teams like the Lakers who they do have scoring off the bench, and OKC, they do have scoring off the bench, and we know that the Suns have scoring off the bench. So yeah, this thing is going to play out the way it plays out. But Malik Monk has a heavy load to carry, and if you don't remember, let's not forget Malik Monk. Anybody can go cold, and Malik Monk went pretty darn cold almost right before the injury. So if that happens, it's just going to have to be Mike Brown is going to have to make that new contract with his rotations. Nate, let's hear from Mike Brown. This was in the pregame to kind of start things off. I think it was the first question of the night, Chris, while Frankie Cardicelli was watching Freddie Freeman hit a 2-run dinger against his Yankees. And we'll get into that later in the show. But basically the first question about Keon Ellis and Mike Brown essentially trying to find him minutes. Here it is.
No Keon Ellis. Is there a game plan to get him into the rotation? Is reason why he goes from starting during preseason to out of the rotation at this point, or what's going on with that situation?
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it, if you guys remember, he started starting because Kevin got hurt, so he was not technically a starter last year, and you know, Kevin, with him being healthy, he got the spot back, and you know, he's got to fight to hold on to it, but. You know, I don't have I have a pretty good feel now of what I have. Against the Lakers, one of the things we wanted to try to do, and we try to do it all the time, is to play extremely fast. And Jordan is really good with the basketball, especially in the speed game. And so giving Jordan a crack at it before Keon was the thought process, just because we want to play fast. And if you think about, the rotation, there's only so many minutes.
There's only so many minutes. Well, Chris, we didn't look at each other because we were in different rows during the pregame presser, but we definitely talked about it after it. Were you a bit surprised that Mike Brown made a distinction between Keon, essentially saying Keon wasn't a starter? He was a starter due to injury, but I guess he gave us a look into their minds, which I tried to get out of them during media day, but we didn't necessarily get there. How was Keon viewed going into the postseason? I think we got our answer last night. Keon was never viewed as a starter once the final buzzer sounded when the Pelicans beat the Kings. When that season ended, Keon, they did not go into the 2024-2025 season thinking Keon was their starting two guard.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear it for sure. I mean, I kind of just didn't really fully understand why Mike was acting like Keon was never the starter, essentially. I mean, he pretty much, he literally laid it out there and said, actually, when you think about it, Keon was never actually the starter. He was just filling in because Kevin had missed time. And, I think that that's technically true, but you always say it, like Kevin was playing bad before he ended up getting hurt, and there was already big question marks about whether or not he was going to be replaced in that starting lineup. And then he goes down, and it kind of makes the decision for us. So I don't know. It just kind of felt a little bit disingenuous and like we were being played dumb there. That to just act like the only reason Keon was ever inserted was only because of injury. I just didn't like to hear it. And yeah, I mean, I kind of felt like it was pretty disingenuous to say that Keon just pretty much played like whatever when he was in there. It's not like Keon ever did anything. And not that that's at all the words that Mike was saying, but the tone was a little bit like, well, Kevin was the starter and Keon never really earned the spot. And even when he was given the opportunity, yes, he was good, but we were also 500 or hovering around 500 in games in which Keon started. And so it's not like we as a team were any different. I don't know. It just kind of felt like a little bit insulting. And, I again, when you look at the numbers and you look at just in general how that lineup has looked, it's tough to argue with Kevin being pulled at this point in time. But I don't know. I mean, I didn't like the excuse of how am I supposed to find minutes for these guys when you have De'Aaron playing over 40, you have Keegan playing over 40, you have DeMar playing over 40 minutes. Well, yeah, you're not going to find minutes when those guys are playing all but 8 of the minutes.
Right.
Maybe play those guys in game 2 of 82, maybe play them 35 minutes, and there's all of a sudden 6 to 7 minutes for Keon Ellis to go out there. So I don't know. I didn't love that answer at all from Mike Brown, to be honest with you, and I kind of felt like he was playing us for stupid, to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't like him. How'd you feel? I mean, you were in the room too.
Yeah, I do think at the very least it downplayed what Keon did. That's how I felt. It felt like it was downplaying what Keon did, and Keon, he really did show up in a big way for the Kings. So that was my feeling on it. Hey, it's not as if Keon, because if that was the case, you would have went to somebody else. I mean, Keon was literally the talk.
Duarte, buddy.
He was the talk of the town. Keon was the talk of the town.
100%.
And Mike Brown, he remembers that. So for him to kind of say, oh, not that it was whatever, but in a way that, he was just a placeholder.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's it.
Yeah, I get it. The record didn't necessarily reflect that, but I don't know if that was on Keon. I mean, the record wasn't much better. The record wasn't much better with the way Kevin Huerter was playing. That would be my argument. I mean, we saw more of Kevin Huerter than we saw of Keon. And like we said, Chris Duarte, they tried to get him out. They tried to get Kevin Huerter on the bench with Chris Duarte, but Chris Duarte couldn't do anything.
No.
So that, to me, it's not as if he made it seem like it was a not worth the question.
Yes.
When it was definitely
100%.
worth the question.
$1,000,000%. I'm sure he's tired of hearing about it and talking about it, and he's just like, look, this is my decision, and that's just the way it's going to be, and maybe he feels like he can't go out and say that, but I don't know. To me, it was just like we all saw it. We all know that Keon, it's not a crazy, like you said, it's not a crazy question to wonder why Keon isn't getting those minutes, and it felt like a little bit like we were kind of being dismissed.
Coming up next, we take a trip around the NBA. LeBron's been sick. Steph Curry goes down, and a former King retires from the NBA. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
Welcome back to another exciting game day. Grab your rally towels, throw on your jerseys, cheer, shout, and save on your gas. That's right, sports fans win big on home game days. Score instant savings of 25 cents per gallon on Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline with the Fuel Rewards program. And that's a victory for you and your tailgate team. Download the app, join the Fuel Rewards program today, and game on. Restrictions apply. Limited time. At participating Shell stations. For more details, visit fuelrewards.com.
Grab the keys to a new Toyota. Let's go! And go apple picking. Go to a football game. Go ghost hunting. Or not. This fall, get a low lease on the sporty 2024 Corolla, adventure-ready RAV4 Hybrid, rugged Tacoma, and even the new all-hybrid 2025 Camry.
Grab the keys, come on, let's go.
Toyota, let's go places. Offer available to TFS buyers with premium rated credit until 11/4/24.
Comes a high screen from Trey Lyles. Fox gives to Lyles. He'll spot up and shoot for three. And he scores it. In that third quarter, when Sacramento dumped 38 points on the Blazers, they made 6 triples. Well, here's another one now. This one from Trey Lyles to make it 99-73.
This is from Studio Craig. Spot on. Your take on Brown's disrespect on Keon. Seems to me Keon is in the doghouse. At least Brown isn't playing musical chairs every game like last year. From Studio Craig. Well, it's only been 3 games, Studio Craig. But yeah, I don't know, man. And look, I'm gonna put it to you like this. The bottom line is the Keon conversation is going to get tabled as long as 1, Kevin Huerter is playing well, and 2, the Kings are winning. Because that's all that really matters when it comes to Keon Ellis. If one of those 2 things stops happening, then we need to have a conversation. So I love what Mike Brown said and how he went about it yesterday? No, but they go out and they beat the brakes off a Blazers team, and Kevin Huerter played great. So he looked good last night. I'm talking about Mike Brown. This thing changes, and Mike Brown will then say, well, then, when the facts change, opinions change. But as of right now, we just read the numbers. That starting unit with Kevin Huerter is balling, not just offensively, defensively. And even though they're going at Kevin Huerter, he's standing on business right now. He's on his muscle milk. He's on his creatine. He's not sitting there, getting pushed around. So we got to show love. You know what I mean? And Keon Ellis, we know he's going to grab his lunch pail and go to work every single day, regardless of what his role is. It might be a little bit harder for him to get into that rhythm. But again, Kevin Huerter playing well, the Kings winning, the Kings playing well as a unit, that starting unit. That's all that matters right now. That's all that matters right now.
Yeah, I mean, I will add to that and say that I just think that Keon's got to play his part too. And part of it is you can scream at your radio because it's right. He's got to play. First and foremost, obviously, Keon has to play, but Keon, when he does play, also does need to live up to his end of the bargain, too. That's kind of the thing that went wrong with Trey Lyles in the Harrison Barnes conversations, in my opinion, is, we could complain all day, you and I, about Harrison Barnes and maybe him not being as effective as we would want. But the problem was who was going to replace him, because the only guy that the Kings had was Trey Lyles. And frankly, yes, as much as you wanted, or I personally wanted HB to maybe transition to a different role, there was nobody who was stepping up their play enough to say, not only is this guy not playing well, this guy is playing so well, I think you could take him to another level in the starting lineup. Again, not saying Keon isn't doing that. And again, Keon has to play in order to even get the opportunity to play well, but definitely Keon, I'm not even going to say last night was a bad game, because, again, he made his impact in different ways, had the deflections. But if he is going to play 15 to 20 minutes in these games, I will say, as much as I literally just in the last segment said it's not just about offense and about the box score with Keon, he's got to make some shots. And I'm not saying he's not making shots, but if he's going to play 15 to 20 minutes, I think part of the reason why Mike Brown might have not wanted to go with Keon in that starting lineup is, if Keon gets an open look, I can't have you passing those up, because you're probably not going to get it back when you have all of those starters out there who are hungry for points. Keon's got to also step his game up offensively, or not even necessarily step it up, but get to the level that he was at last year, where even in a bench role, you still felt his offense as well. That I think is the next step in Keon putting more pressure on Kevin.
You know what I think Keon is suffering from right now, Chris, because of how the rotations go. It's not as if Keon comes in, when we talk about the bench unit, it's not as if Keon is coming in with a bunch of guys that can't shoot the basketball and Keon feels like he's got to shoot. He's still playing with DeMar DeRozan. Yep. He's still playing with Malik Monk. He's playing with guys that can really score the basketball. Now, last season, it all comes back somehow to Harrison Barnes. When you had a kind of a hole there, no disrespect to Harrison, hope he's enjoying his time on the River Rock in San Antonio. When it comes to having Harrison Barnes and Keon, whenever that kind of overlapped, there was just a feeling of everybody has to do more, not to mention Davion Mitchell.
Right.
Everybody has to do more offensively. It reminds me of when you would be playing pickup and you ever end up on a team. And look, I was very realistic about my skill set most of the time. Yeah, I was like, and there were days where you're thinking, okay, I'm about a third option on this team. Yeah. So I'm going to let people cook. For sure. There were days where I'd win 7 games straight and I probably put up 2 shots. I was acting like a mini Draymond Green, because I'm thinking my job is not to shoot on the team. We got shooters. And I think that's what's happening to Keon Ellis, because the team is better offensively. Sure. He's getting out there thinking, well, why would I shoot this? I think it's better to work the ball around and get it to a DeMar DeRozan and get it to a De'Aaron Fox, whoever it is. Mm-hmm. And Mike Brown is thinking that's not how our offense works. Our offense works. We have shooters. You are a shooter, Keon. When you get an opportunity to shoot the basketball, shoot that thing. And I think right now Keon's thinking, are we sure they're not better options? And we all know that Keon can shoot the basketball. What we also know is that shooting the basketball is about confidence. Yeah. And if you don't have that confidence, if you don't think you are the person that should be shooting the basketball, chances are you're either not going to shoot it or that ball is not going in the hoop.
Yeah, and I think it's a really tough part of him going to the bench is that I'm sure, just like you said, I'm sure that some of that confidence is wavering. I'm not going to say it's gone, but you could imagine that, again, Keon all summer long probably had that carrot dangled in front of him. He played in Summer League. He did all the right things. He had big Summer League games, and then he goes into camp and Kevin's still hurt. He probably really felt like he was going to be the starter, and then to have it be game one, for it to just, essentially feel like it was ripped from him. And then in game 2, your minutes are just completely gone. Crazy. I can't imagine the emotional roller coaster he's going through. But on that same token, we were tough on Kevin Huerter last year. Yeah. And we said, hey man, doesn't matter if there's pressure on you to hit shots. That's the game. And if you can't hit shots off the bench, well, then what are we talking about? And I think the same thing will apply to Keon. Again, we're not even saying that this is applying to Keon right now, but we're just trying to maybe forecast down the road if Keon is going to get opportunities, what might be going on with him. I think he played great yesterday, and I hope he can continue it, because I think that the best version of this team absolutely includes Keon Ellis as a key contributor. Him getting 15 to 20 minutes every single night, I think, is something that Mike Brown has to prioritize, and hopefully the minute sheet can look a little bit like it did yesterday, because you have all your starters. Sabonis is the only one that played more than 33 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, Sabonis and Fox Both played 35 minutes. The rest of the starters played 33. To me, that's the most ideal spread for all those guys, and it allows you to get Keon 15 minutes, get Trey Lyles 15 minutes. So I could maybe see those minutes being reduced. I just think that, the more opportunities you can give Keon, from what we've seen so far, the more plays he'll go out there and make. So hopefully he gets the opportunity, and it won't have to be a day-to-day. Mike Brown tried to say in the pregame it was going to, Keon's rotations were essentially a matchup-based thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it's just every single night he's in there.
Yeah, this is less about, we want Keon Ellis to play, and this is more about trying to figure out the best version of what this Kings team is going to be.
Yes.
And the best version of this Kings team is going to be with production off that bench. And Keon Ellis, now that he's on the bench, you're going to need production from him in a very, very big way. That's just what the situation is right now, and they have to make a decision as to how they're going to get there. We continue to tease around the NBA, but we got it for you on the other side with Steph, LeBron, and Rudy Gay. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Live and local.
With everything 49ers.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Dives for the end zone. Touchdown! San Francisco! Bob George went up and caught the ball. Touchdown!
The 49ers play on Sacktown Sports 1140.
There's no need to be scared of auto maintenance this October. Your local Jiffy Lube has just the treats you need without the tricks, like fast oil changes or wiper blades for the upcoming rainy season. Serving greater Sacramento area customers since 1984 with over 30 convenient locations to choose from. Open daily, early at 7:30 and open past 6 p.m. at most locations. Just visit jiffylube.com to find a location near you and valuable coupons to save money too.
Sacramento State football is back at home this Saturday. Join us for Salute to Heroes Night and check out some high-flying action between your Sacramento State Hornets and the Portland State Vikings. And after the game, stick around for the post-game fireworks show. It's this Saturday, November 2nd at Hornet Stadium. 6 o'clock game time between Sacramento State and Portland State. Tickets on sale now at hornetsports.com. We'll see you there, and Stingers up.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kip Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kip Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sacktown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
There's no better time than now to get yourself into a brand new Jeep because it's Jeep Adventure Days at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, offering the best deals in town and a selection other dealers are jealous of. Stop on by. They're just off of Business 80 across from Hagen Oaks Golf Complex. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Don't let summer energy slip away. Live the active life you love year-round with a personally fit arch support system from the Good Feet store. Precision engineered to support all 4 arches. Good Feet puts your feet in a more ideal, comfortable, and pain-free position. And Good Feet arch supports are now HSA and FSA eligible. Book a free fitting at goodfeet.com or come in and get a free pair of OS First Performance socks. Free. Normally a $25 value at the Good Feet store.
Fox drives into the lane, takes it right to the eye. A back screen set by DeMar DeRozan opened up that alleyway for De'Aaron Fox. Fox now has a 24-point game, 101-86.
From the 209, Chris, I can't remember. We talk so often, it's hard to remember what vehicle we were using. It might have been on the show where I brought up By the way, we're 30 minutes away from giving away UC Davis tickets. If you want to be a part of that action, 916-339-1140. Switch on over. If you're on the Sacktown Sports app, you can switch over to YouTube or AM if you're able to get on over there. But I'm looking here, Chris, and somebody's mentioning Mike Brown, and I had said, Chris, we haven't really heard too many people get on Mike Brown yet after the 0-2 start. And here is the 209. Mike Brown screws with people's heads. He can't coach at a high level. He's a good coach, not a great coach.
2-time coach of the year.
Mike Brown isn't bad enough to fire, but it's hard to keep because he's not a great coach. He's a good coach.
So he's Kyle Shanahan.
I literally was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
But nobody would call. Yeah. Actually, I don't even know who that
feels like a compliment to Mike Brown.
Because Mike Brown's been to a finals, didn't win.
Sure did.
With LeBron.
Yeah, Shanahan's done it kind of 3 times. If you count
Super Bowl different than
if you count offensive coordinator.
The bottom line is they both been there.
And he had LeBron.
I don't see that.
I don't either.
No, I just said it.
They didn't say that, but if you close your eyes and you talked about that, it would
the
sound
vocabulary to describe Mike Brown there was very similar to how you would describe.
Yeah, not a good coach, but not a great coach.
I would say most people would call Kyle Shanahan a great coach, though.
I would say.
Yeah. I think everyone, maybe not everyone, but top 5 right now in the NFL, probably. So
I just don't really see rotations to me is something that legitimately every single fan base complains about. And so if that's what your big gripe with Mike Brown is, I just don't think that that's necessarily going to be unique to Mike Brown. I mean, I remember people complaining about Luke Walton's rotations, Dave Yeager's rotations. The list goes on and on and on. I'm not saying it's not fair, but I just think that that's just not something that's unique to Mike Brown. And, I don't really see how you can say that he's not elevating this team or keeping them at a high level, because we've just seen so many talented Kings rosters in the past, maybe even including last year, not live up to their potential. I just feel like, even though they're 1-2, I just feel like this team doesn't look poorly coached. Like, you can see teams that are poorly coached, that aren't organized, that don't have an identity, don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I mean, again, rotations are one thing, but I don't think that the Kings look disorderly much.
I think this is going back to last season. I don't think they're necessarily talking about.
Well, I kind of feel like the screwing with the head is a direct mention of the Keon stuff.
But that's from people would talk about it with Davey. People have always, like you said, the rotation. Yeah. People have always kind of, had conversations to have there. All right, we will continue this conversation throughout the rest of the show, but we do want to take a trip around the NBA. It is time, Chris, to go around the NBA. Steph Curry goes down with an ankle injury. The MRI showed no structural damage and confirmed the injury as a left perineal strain. I'm pretty sure JD tried to tell me how to pronounce that one when we saw JD last night at the game. He will be reevaluated on Friday. It's not just Steph Curry for the Warriors, though, Chris. You have Andrew Wiggins dealing with a back situation and DeAnthony Melton. You know what that means, Chris?
Buddy.
Well, buddy, yes. But I also was going to say, we're about one injury away from Draymond being quote-unquote injured. That's normally how it works.
Isn't that one injury just Steph, though? Isn't it just when Steph isn't out, he's not out?
That's true. So we're pretty sure Draymond will stop playing here.
All of a sudden, random sickness. Same sickness LeBron got.
Exactly.
Sure, there's some close touching.
Well, did you see the picture with Draymond holding LeBron's Hennessy?
Huh? Holding his what? No, I did.
Yeah,
not,
he's holding. I'm pretty sure it's real.
I saw Kai Cenat having LeBron's.
Yeah, and
Hennessy.
what is that Hennessy? Is it
Oh no!
Is it? It looks like it's orange.
You're
Is
not
there-
talking
is
about
there-
the wedding picture from
No.
years ago?
No. That picture's
that
going
picture-
sweaty in that
picture's
picture.
going triple platinum right now. Though that
They're so
picture's
sweaty in that
used and
picture.
abused.
That picture's rough. I see people dress up like that for Halloween.
Do you
It's
think
crazy.
we can pick up the LeBron Hennessy somewhere? I know
I'd love
we got
to.
a Total Wine down the street. Yeah. Total Wine. It's $35.
Oh, that's not bad.
Maybe post. You know what we should do, guys? We should all chip in and get the LeBron James of the station. Some LeBron James.
If you think
He
I'm
doesn't-
buying
Yeah.
Draper anything,
Yeah, that's crazy.
sounds
That
so
is
incredibly
like,
true.
if you think my hard-earned money will ever touch Kyle Draper, you, as my dad would say, you have lost your whole entire mind. Here it is. Hennessy VS times with LeBron James, a world favorite since 1865. Hennessy VS impresses for its roundness, strength, and unrivaled versatility. A unique signature for an all-time great, now in a limited edition celebrating LeBron James' boundary-breaking life and career as a legend of the NBA. So it's just normal. I'm just trying to figure out.
Bronny
is
got
there
a
hint-
Kirkland brand sponsorship.
Is there a
Kirkland
hint of
cognac.
Is there a hint of anything? Oh, here we go. A Hennessy, very special. Oh, it's VS, very
It's a
special.
VS, yeah.
Oh, wait, it's the VSOP, but it's just got LeBron on it.
Salutes LeBron James with a unique purple and orange logo as a brasse aimé featuring the NBA legend's signature sleeve and
purple and
crown
orange?
tattoo. A cognac of boundless possibilities taken to new heights. So it's essentially the same
It's the
thing.
same thing.
Yeah, it just has his
you
face on it.
slap a LeBron logo on
Here
it.
we
It's like
go.
Wheaties, but
Yeah.
for
Right.
A new spin on tradition. As an admirer of Hennessy, I've always admired a liquor brand.
Yeah,
I
As an
actually
admirer-
really do like Hennessy a lot.
Hey, there you,
You know,
but not with that
anything's
hair. Not with that hair, you don't. As an
Yes, I
admirer
do.
of
More with this
Hennessy
hair.
and its iconic brand, I've always appreciated its commitment to basketball and how it celebrates the sport's influence on and off the court, says James. I was fortunate enough.
It influences the sport on and off the floor. I'm sure Hennessy has inspired a lot of NBA children.
I was
So
fortunate
I'll say.
enough to visit the Mason and Cognac a while back and see the care and craftsmanship that go into creating each bottle.
Okay.
That was pretty incredible. This collaboration
I'm sure
allows
that's what
us
happened.
to share that sense of dedication and discovery to create something fresh and exciting for everyone to enjoy. We got a price. We got a price tag.
It's not new. Yeah, it's not.
Excuse me.
$35.
That's it.
He said fresh and exciting.
It's literally just Hennessy.
I think that sounds
There's
cheaper than
nothing
normal Hennessy.
exciting about it. Total Wine right now, $35.
That is cheaper
All right.
than normal Hennessy.
Yeah.
It sucks we can't do an on-air taste
No,
test.
definitely not.
I can talk to
LeBron
some
does have
people.
has his own tequila as well, the Lobos.
Yes, he
I
does.
tried it. It's not great.
Everybody
It's
got
not
one.
great.
Is it
but,
clear or dark?
It's clear.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he might have both. I think he might have a rep.
Everybody got one. So I wonder if LeBron's been sipping too much of the Hennessy because he's been sick since
Hennessy
Friday.
flu.
Yeah, Hennessy flu. Here is LeBron talking about his sickness, not from Hennessy, but possibly. Here it is.
I've been better. You can hear my voice.
When did this kind of start?
Friday.
Fake cough.
I love when people say I'm sick. You can hear it, can't you?
Sure.
You can hear
It's
it,
like-
can't you?
Yeah. Okay.
I should be telling you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so you know you're sick, and
Right.
you're still around people. And LeBron, like, you're sick on Friday, and you decided to go play. Like, why didn't you take off Saturday? There was no reason for you to be out there Saturday.
They're rolling.
I think a lot of people would have been a lot happier if you just took Saturday off. And unfortunately, saw somebody say it on socials. I can't remember. I think it might have been Instagram actually. Shout out on Instagram, which rarely gets shout outs. Wasted his flu game on the Kings, second game of the season. Why? Why did he do that? Why did he decide to do that, LeBron? You have 82 games in front of you. You decided to waste a perfectly fine flu game on the Sacramento Kings on a Saturday in game 2. Why?
Because
Just take a night off.
They had not beat the
Take a
Kings
night
in a
off.
very long
Yeah,
time.
and that's why the streamers fell.
There you go. 21.4% shooting for LeBron James was his lowest field goal percentage in a regular season game since October 31st, 2007. So that's from last night per StatHead. That was 1,179 games ago. He's an android. I'm surprised he got sick. I mean, they have to throw us off by making him sick.
That's why he fake coughed.
Exactly. I'm
initiating sick mode.
We just combined LeBron and Kawhi.
The Kawhi laugh, yeah.
Rudy Gay retires from the NBA. He spent some time with the Kings. Chris, I will hand this one over to you.
Yeah, I mean, really sad to see Rudy's career end. I think it was pretty unfortunate that it kind of felt like it got stunted a little bit with him tearing his Achilles in Sacramento in his last game as a King. I was at that game. It was just a really, really crazy environment because, I mean, kind of the reality of the situation was Rudy Gay was on the trading block, and I think his time with Sacramento was kind of already writing on the wall, coming to an end. And then for him to get hurt in that fashion and never to see him as a King again was a little bit weird. And I kind of felt like it was really sudden and kind of got an unceremonious ending there. So it kind of feels like there's a little bit of a unclosed chapter with Rudy Gay and the Kings. But while he was here, I mean, people were so excited. I was so excited when Rudy came here. It was kind of the first big swing of the DeMarcus Cousins era where it felt like, oh my gosh, they're really going to try and go for it. Of course, they never ended up reaching playoff success, which is pretty crazy. But I think those are crazy enough. Some of the more fun years of the Kings playoff drought was the DeMarcus Cousins, Rudy Gay, Isaiah Thomas, Darren Collison. You had the Rondo season. It was definitely pretty crazy. And, you know, we do have Rudy Gay to thank for basketball hell, the basketball hell name that Sacramento was given. But yeah, I think Rudy was a really good King, and funny enough, was one of the best small forwards this franchise has ever had.
There you go. I mean, look, great career for Rudy. Like you said, a bit derailed, but it's the memories that matter the most, Chris. Let's continue on. The cast for season 2 of Netflix's NBA documentary series Starting 5 has been announced. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jaylen Brown, and just for Chris Watkins himself, he asked for it, he got it, Tyrese Halliburton. We cannot get away from this dude, no matter what we do, Chris. Chris, will you be watching?
No. Yeah, that's how I'm going to get away from this dude, because I'm not watching this. Like, this
what if you just fast forward through his parts?
No, this is reeking of receiver to quarterback, or quarterback to receiver, I should say. Season 1, great. Everyone watches quarterback, receiver. Not that many people watched, and I kind of feel like Starting 5 is going to be the same way. I'm only halfway through the first season. It's fun. It's okay. Kind of drags on a bit. I'm sorry. I just don't think any of these guys are super entertaining. Kevin Durant has always been a malcontent. I think his lifestyle will be interesting to kind of see what he does on a day-to-day basis. He doesn't have a family or anything like that, so I'm kind of interested to see what this multi-hundred millionaire does on a day-to-day basis. Harden, the only thing we know about James Harden's life is he likes to party, so I guess maybe that's slightly entertaining. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander literally could not have less of a personality. He doesn't like doing media, doesn't like talking to media. I don't think he's going to be entertaining in this, and we know he likes his fashion. Jaylen Brown, kind of same thing. He's very, very,
smartest
very,
guy in the
very
room.
Involved, and very, very smartest guy in the room for sure. But something tells me he's going to be the Sabonis of this series, and then Tyrese, come on. Can we get an insight into that random 50 Cent video that he filmed? That's the only thing I want to see in Starting 5 so far.
And I say Jaylen Brown, smartest guy in the room
too. I might watch that first episode.
Yeah,
maybe that's it.
Right. I say smartest guy in the room for Jaylen Brown, but he actually might be figuratively and literally. All right, it's been a lot of basketball, so we take a quick breather with an NFL Blitz. Then we have top stories at the top of the hour, 1:00, and then we preview Kings Jazz. Can the Kings keep this thing rolling? Don't move a muscle. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
A handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions. Plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. All in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite news podcasts? Good news! Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Stay up to date on everything newsworthy with podcasts like The Daily, Up First, and 5 Things Uninterrupted at Amazon.com/ad-free. Just head to Amazon.com/ad-free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Rob Thomas, a special intimate performance.
I don't wanna be lonely no more. I don't wanna have to pay for this.
Benefiting Sidewalk Angels Foundation. One night only, Saturday, November 16th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Rob Thomas, live. For tickets now, visit ThunderValleyResort.com.
The shot clock is ticking, and your home team is driving up the court. But don't miss your chance to score big at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Save on a new Accord, HRV, Ridgeline, or the all-new Prologue before the buzzer sounds on year-end deals. Don't get benched by high prices. Slam dunk your savings today.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. Stockton Honda.com.
#1 claims based on 2023 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company sold on report.
Midway presents NFL Blitz.
A little bit of NFL Blitz. 15 minutes, we will give away tickets to UC Davis football, and then we got top stories. We get back into some Kings basketball in the last hour, getting you ready for the second game of their back-to-back. All right, Nate, let's get it.
Let's have some fun, guys. Let's have a little NFL Blitz. Let's start off with the Rams stealing one from Minnesota late, 30-20. Not much to say here. I think they got robbed by the refs, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bad no call on the face mask, but the Minnesota still ended up in that situation. They maybe should have had an opportunity, but it still would have been a tall task. I think it says more about the Rams, and this is what they do. They get healthy, and then they start to show up out of nowhere. So I think it just says more about the Rams than the Vikings, even with the no call.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a big problem with the no call. It's a face mask in the end zone. They still would have had to go 80 more yards to score. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I've been pretty low on this Vikings team overall. I think that they are a fun, scrappy team. I'm kind of getting afraid that the defense is starting to get solved now that there's more tape on them. People have a better understanding of where where Flores is trying to bring Brian Flores is trying to bring his blitzes and things like that.
Nasty scheme.
And I'm starting to get a little bit concerned that Sam Darnold is coming back to earth, even though I never thought he got far off the ground. We'll see. I mean, the Vikings have such an easy schedule ahead, but I do agree that to me, this still shows that the Rams have signs of life, and I would not give up on the Rams. I don't think we've buried them yet, but I think that they should definitely stay unburied. As I just think that they have the potential to do this on any given week. Is just I think that their offense is good enough to keep up with just about anybody as long as they're healthy.
Washington takes command over the Bears with a last-second Hail Mary, 18-15. I know we talked about this one briefly yesterday, I think. Did we get into the corner talking trash to the crowd? I don't recall.
Yes.
But yeah. And then got scored on and lost the game last second.
Incredible end to that game. Yes, I know. The text line gave me some grief about saying it was a good game between the quarterbacks. I just like seeing the young quarterbacks.
You always remember the ending though, to like movies and stuff. So that's kind of what that's what you're getting at.
Exactly. So great stuff, great game. I watched it live and it was insane. So we're good there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Commanders just continue to show that they're legitimate, and even when you're down and out, last play of the game, the fact that Jaden Daniels, who had busted ribs, let's not forget, they were showing a shot of him in the pregame where they literally are wrapping his ribs every single time he goes to the sideline, and for him to still be able to put together that kind of game, that's a statement kind of win. I mean, when it's number 1 pick on number 2 pick and you're down and out like that, I think the fact that Jaden Daniels still had the wherewithal to make a play like that. Now, of course, it's 95% luck in a situation like that, but that just has a weird way of being more than just a result. That kind of was a statement that Jaden Daniels is the best rookie in this class right now.
Speaking of rookies, the Broncos trampled the Panthers 28-14, and Bo Nix has the most wins by a Denver rookie quarterback that's starting, obviously, more than John Elway. And Paxton Lynch, I think, is tied with John Elway, I believe.
Paxton Lynch, who just had another growth spurt. He is the 7-2 quarterback that disappeared. I will say this, Bo Nix, look, as a Raider guy, and they talked about how they played the Raiders. We'll see what Bo Nix becomes. I think we talked about it, Chris. Is he a mini Josh Allen, whatever he's supposed to be? But good on him. The Panthers stink. That's all I got for this game.
Yeah, I've been very unimpressed with Bo Nix. It was his best performance so far, but it is against a really bad Panthers team. I'm trying to not be too critical in case he kind of turns it around, but I'm just with the pack. I just really don't believe in Bo Nix. Good win for him, and it's great that he's found success. But ultimately, I think that if the Broncos end up in a playoff game, that's going to be a lot of people licking their chops being able to bet against the Broncos.
Totally agree with that. We'll go quick over these next two. Chiefs get revenge on the Raiders, 27-20. Not much to say there. And then the Saints get zapped by the Chargers, 26-8. Another kind of boring game. Yeah. Not much. But the Bills broke the Seahawks 31-10. What do you guys have to say about that?
Well, we were both, I think all three of us were on it. I think it was a 3-point fate. Seahawks were only underdogs by 3.
Yeah.
The Seahawks, look, they're tied.
In Seattle.
Yeah, in Seattle. They're tied. I mean, they're 4-4. They're not done, but you look around and DK Metcalf was out. I just don't know what they're doing with that Geno Smith situation. Their defense was supposed to be young and good, and they haven't really played the part. I don't know if it says more about the Seahawks defense. They're soft. They don't like to tackle. That's the word out on the street on them. And the Bills look good. I mean, Amari Cooper didn't even do very much, but don't sleep on the Bills. I know we're going to talk about these AFC teams and all roads lead back to Patrick Mahomes, but I still think that there's a shout for the Bills and or the Ravens to make something happen here against the Chiefs.
Yeah, totally. I think the Bills, this could be their year. They look really, really good. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how healthy they are at the end of the season. If maybe some of their receivers can develop, and Amari Cooper still has been pretty quiet. I know he had the touchdown in week 1, but he's still clearly learning the playbook. It'll be interesting to see how he gets involved. But on the Seahawks side, I mean, I could not be more out on them. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. They have their 3 divisional opponents these next 3 weeks. So I guess we're really about to find out the answer on how good the Seahawks are. They play the Rams this week. They play the Niners the next week. And then they play the Cardinals the week after that. We will definitely know truly how good the Seahawks are after that 3-week stretch. Realistically, I would put them as 0-3 in that stretch. I really think the Rams can beat them with their momentum right now. The Niners obviously kind of own the Seahawks, and that's going to be at Santa Clara. And then the Cardinals, we know that they're just really, really scrappy. And that win, I think, would mean more to a Cardinals team than it would to the Seahawks. So we'll see. We'll see.
The Texans hang on for dear life in Indy, 23-20, and there's a very controversial play in this game. Anthony Richardson, who was just benched, basically tagged himself out for a play. Here's the audio in his post game.
Man, it's tired. I ain't gonna lie. That was a lot of running right there, what I did, and I don't think I was gonna be able to go that next play. So I just, just told Sam I just needed a break right there.
I've never heard a quarterback say that before.
I don't know if I've heard outside of like a D lineman running back a 90-yard catch or something. I've never heard a player say that.
I mean, like running backs will tap out a play. If you get the ball 3 straight carries and one of them's a 15-yard gain, yeah, I mean, you'll get swapped out, but it's also kind of customary for that position. Quarterback, I've seen Lamar Jackson run from sideline to sideline back and then just throw the ball out of bounds, and he's right back there the next play. Like, I think if you're a quarterback and you call yourself out, I don't care if it's the right move or not. That's absolutely insane.
Scam Newton.
Well, he will 100%. Get a great chance to rest because he's been benched.
Yes.
He's been benched. Anthony Richardson.
I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson is on the bench. Look, I mean, Shane Steichen, what he did with the Eagles, he was supposed to come in, and this thing was supposed to be electric. Me personally, I just felt like I didn't see enough Anthony Richardson to truly feel like I had a gauge on what he was going to be in the NFL, and apparently nobody does at this point in time. That's that first game, Chris, against the Texans. He had that crazy throw to Pierce, and we thought, okay, maybe there's something there. It could be honestly a Jaden Daniels type deal where he's just running and just shucking long balls, and that just hasn't happened. He's just not very good right now, and I don't know if he's ever going to be good, to be completely honest with you. And I hate to do this, but with his big self, he might want to look at maybe switching positions. I mean, that's where I'm at with Anthony Richardson. I mean, we just saw Cardale Jones, who played one game in the NFL. So there's that. By the way, as far as the Texans are concerned, yes, they have a really good wide receiver core. A little bit weaker now with Stefon Diggs out for the season with an ACL injury.
We'll go quick on this one, but it was the biggest upset of the week, maybe the biggest upset of the season so far. The Browns blast the Ravens late, 29-24 behind Jameis Winston.
And sometimes losses can help in certain situations. The Ravens had no business losing to the Raiders. They had no business losing to the Browns. But what do the Ravens do today? They go out and get Deontay Johnson from the Panthers. So maybe they said, all right, we've had a pretty good run so far throwing the football, but how can we be better? And I would say if you are a fan of Mark Andrews, I'd probably avoid him because chances are he ain't getting that football.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good move for the Ravens. Deontay Johnson's a great possession receiver, and I think he's going to be really good for the Ravens as they kind of, especially at receiver. I know Bateman's gotten involved more, but they really rely on Zay Flowers.
And Bateman he's just a Xavier Worthy type. Let's just sprint.
I think that they're going to be a really good team, but I mean, it's kind of crazy that two of their 3 losses have been to the Raiders and then to the Browns, and the other one is to the Chiefs. So it's a really confusing team. They still continue in the fourth quarter to just not have any sort of semblance of an identity of like they're one team through 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter they just completely forget who they are. It's pretty inexcusable to lose to the Browns. I know Jameis went crazy, but that is as embarrassing of a loss as you're going to find for a Ravens team. That's crazy.
The Packers will their way to a win over the Jags, 30-27. Jordan Love out again. I don't have an update for you on him, but he did get hurt. The Patriots marched all over the Jets, potentially ruining their entire season, 25-22. That'll be tomorrow probably. We might deem them dead. Tua's return, spoiled by the Cardinals, 28-27. And then you have the Falcons foiling the Bucs, 31-26. I know you guys still had questions on the Bucs. Where are you feeling right now?
Well, the Niners, that's their next opponent. Maybe they'll have Mike Evans back by then. Yeah, look, Baker has looked good. He's kind of weirdly a really good fantasy QB because he can get 4 touchdowns and do all that. But without Godwin, they're not beating I don't see them beating the Niners. I think this is where the Niners lean forward, just like that meme when the guy's playing the video game.
I think Baker's looked good, though. I mean, he moved the ball really well, surprisingly well for not having his 2 receivers in that game. We'll see. You know, I wouldn't be so quick to just say that the Niners are going to shut him down. The Niners defense has allowed a lot of explosive plays this year, and Baker does like to put it in harm's way. I would guess that this seems like a prime week for our boy Fred Warner to probably get an interception next week, that is. But, yeah, I mean, I think that the Bucs might still have a little bit of fight left in them. we'll see. I mean, the Niners obviously are a much more talented team, but I was just really impressed at how the Buccaneers were still able to move the ball.
We have the Lions mauling the Titans. Not much to say there. It was just dominant. It was close for a bit, but then the Eagles fly over the Bengals 37-17. I'd like to hear what you guys think about that maybe later, maybe tomorrow. The Niners knock the Cowboys for the 4th time in a row, and then the Steelers stomp the Giants 26-18. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of NFL Blitz.
Steeler Nation. Let's ride. What would the Steeler do? Steeler Nation.
They're the steel curtain.
Let's
close.
Let's steal.
What's it called when they hit the, you
The
got
anvil?
Yeah.
Let's blacksmith.
Keep pounding is the
we got to think of something, and we'll do it during the break. Top stories coming up next.
Let's
Stiles Watkins. I just said that.
You know how it goes down, man.
Sacktown Sports 1140 has you covered all year. Listen to every Sacramento Kings game and stay up to date on all Kings news on SacktownSports.com. Or listen to our live and local shows.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys.
We are your home of the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports 1140.
Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1. Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room. And guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Ready to pre-game your next big arena event? Head to Beach Hut Deli, a Sacramento tradition for over 40 years, where aloha is served daily. Located just steps away from the arena, whether it's game day or concert night, it's the perfect spot to gather with friends and enjoy amazing sandwiches. Are you planning a bigger get-together? Beach Hut Deli offers endless catering options to bring those delicious flavors to your next party or event. Beach Hut Deli, good vibes, great food, and epic times await.
Toyota's legendary truck event is on. Hurry in for $2,000 cash back on any 2024 Tundra, or choose a great lease on a new 2024 Tacoma 4x4. Get to your Toyota dealer today, because this truck event will be Toyota. Let's go places. Offer available to TFS buyers with premium rated credit until 11/4/24.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery. One of the most common questions I receive is what makes us different from other law firms. At Gingery, Hammer and Associates, we handle your case from beginning to end. Whether your case reaches a settlement, whether we need to file suit, or even take it all the way to trial, we will be with you along the entire way. And because we are committed to you and your case, we are as invested as you are in making sure you get the outcome you deserve. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Plati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
Raising it now with room to look on the right side. Drives toward the baseline, stops, steps back, scores the 2-pointer. Tonight, DeRozan has a 23-point ball game. Chauncey Billups and the Blazers will take timeout. 3.5 minutes yet to go in this one.
It is time. We have top stories at the top of the hour. But first, we are giving away these tickets. 916-339-1140. The UC Davis Aggies taking on Northern Colorado this weekend on Saturday. And of course, Sacktown Sports wants you in the building. All you got to do is call the Folsom Lake Honda hotline right now. Chris, looking for caller number.
I'm trying to think of a good number. Let's do, I don't know if we've ever done number 7 before. Let's do number 7.
I was thinking 7. That's so weird.
No way.
Caller number 7.
That's crazy.
916-339-1140. 916-339-1140. 916-339-1140. Your chance. We're looking for caller number 7 to check out UC Davis this weekend. Family 4-pack and parking pass. That is your opportunity. So call in right now. Nate will pick that lucky number. We will go from there. We got top stories right now, and then we preview your Sacramento Kings taking on the Utah Jazz, who are currently winless. They're going to look to end that streak tonight, and hopefully the Kings don't let them. Okay, Chris, you had that sports equinox.
Yeah.
And I know I joke sometimes because I don't know what I'm allowed to say and not allowed to say. I actually had a buddy.
Okay.
And he does listen to this show. I don't know if he wants me to name him, but he went with let me tell you right now.
This isn't an actual buddy this time.
Oh, no, yes.
Okay.
It's always an
Sorry,
actual
I don't
buddy.
know what I meant by that.
Yeah, it's always an actual
what
buddy.
I'm talking about.
This guy, he ran this one, Chris. Let me get it for you. Real quick. No, hold on now.
All right.
I should have.
I hope he didn't have Taylor Hendricks last
So
time.
he did a sports equinox parlay.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, and he did Sharks. I think it was Sharks.
Got their first win of the season.
Yes,
if I'm not
Sharks
mistaken.
to win.
Okay. Wow.
Steelers 5.5. They covered.
Okay.
Dodgers money line, but he's an A's fan, so I get it. And the last one, I told him, don't do it. Don't do it. He did it anyway. Kings 12.5.
Oh, he
so
did the
hit.
spread too.
He hit.
Do you know how close that got?
I know. But he hit. He was very happy with the Kings.
All you can do is warn your friends, huh?
I said, dude, I wouldn't do it. He said, I already did it. So shout out to
always the best, huh?
If you did have a sports equinox parlay regarding the New York teams, then you lost money. So let's hope you didn't do that. New York Yankees lost. They're almost cooked. Frankie, Jake Gaden, Jason Ross. They're in a group together, a support group to get through this tough time. I mean, the Yankees about to get swept. This embarrassing. You can't have Derek Jeter throw out the first pitch.
Frankie called it. Frankie
said
knew
it was bad luck.
He said the second Derek. You would not believe. Actually, you would actually believe how insane our friend Frankie is. He was telling us, was going down the laundry list of things that Derek Jeter has been involved with the Yankees, and then the corresponding loss that came with. It's like he gets his number retired, they lose. He gets his 3,000th or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
He had 4 different things of why Derek Jeter throwing out the first pitch, and specifically because it was a strike right down the middle was the reason why the Yankees are going to lose.
Crazy.
Everybody, please keep our friend Frankie in your thoughts and prayers.
New York Giants, they lose. I mean, there are moments where they don't look terrible, but they are terrible.
Yeah.
But there are moments. I mean, Tracy Jr., he ended up, I think it was a concussion. I was watching on mute because we were at the game, but I think he took a hit to the noggin. You had the New York Knicks. They lost. Your boy Darius Garland went off, and that dude was cooking the New York Knicks. And New York City FC, they lost as well. Somebody on the 916 saying that they faded the New York Sports Equinox and they cashed.
Nice.
There you go. So good for you, 916.
Alan, I think you called Garland. Was it Garland or Sexton yesterday? You said it was going to.
I said Sexton. But that's the night. Well, yeah, I said he's going to. Well, he's doing whatever it takes to get that W.
Gotcha.
He's going to be diving on the ground. It's going to be great stuff. And that guy, I saw something, Chris, it was, if you want to play in the NBA as a 6-footer, you need to act like this. And it was him literally just bulldoze. I mean, it just wasn't even a safe play per se, but they're right. They are right. Come on, Chris. You know they're right.
I've got no comment.
Come on.
No.
All right. Carolina is sending wide receiver Deontay Johnson to the Baltimore Ravens. You know, Chris, we talked about this during the NFL Blitz from the Ravens side. How about from the Panthers side? Just tell Bryce Young we don't want you anymore.
Yeah.
Because he threw a touchdown. I think he threw a touchdown to Xavier Leggett, right? And he had that going on, but they just have there's no way. There are quarterbacks, some young quarterbacks in some great positions. There are some young quarterbacks in some horrible positions, and I would say that Bryce Young is in a horrible position.
Probably the worst one. I mean, he has a rookie in Xavier Leggett, but I mean, he's got Adam Thielen, who is very far past his prime. They just trade Deontay Johnson. They have no intention of winning. Like, I just don't even know what the Panthers are hanging their hat on these days. They trade Brian Burns, who was one of their best defensive players a couple years ago. We know what they get for Christian McCaffrey. It doesn't seem like they've turned that into anything useful. I don't know. I mean, yeah, this could be the Panthers being bad for a very, very long time because, like you kind of mentioned there, they're not just a quarterback away. I mean, if you put another quarterback in that situation, what makes you think he's going to do any better than what we've seen from Bryce Young and Andy Dalton? It just seems like the foundation is what's wrong in Carolina, and they don't really know how to fix it.
Yeah, it is kind of tough sledding there. And I'm pretty sure, Nate, if you put this one in, the dirty play on Herbert, I'm going to let you kind of lead this one through.
So I don't know the defender's name. I couldn't see the number properly in the video, but Herbert, this guy in the Saints game, tackles Herbert low, holds his ankle, and is like almost ripping at it, a la what Sabonis did to Draymond way back when, right?
I remember.
According to Draymond Green. And he's just pulling on it as Herbert's going down. And then his Bozeman, the lineman for the Chargers, sees this, and dives like a missile like Gronk did at Tre'Davious White years ago on the Bills when he was laying on the ground, and just took this guy out. And then Bozeman was asked about it in the post game, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, it was probably one of the dirtier plays I've ever seen, especially with my own eyes. To think the ball's gone 2-3 seconds and he's still getting rolling. He's on the ground. He's still getting rolling. And just protect your quarterback. You protect your quarterback no matter what. I think any of the offensive linemen that was in that position would have done the exact same thing. So, had to get him off of him, and we did.
So this dude got a lot of respect around the league for that. Bozeman's not a name I knew before that play, but I think a lot of people now are gonna know what's up, and all his teammates, everybody, just giving him props.
Yeah,
the dirty play was by Nathan Shepard.
He's
a D tackle for the Saints.
Yeah, it was
really bad. It looks like kind of how Tom Brady ended up getting his knee rolled up on. It's kind of equivalent to that, except it's intentional. And like Nate said, I mean, the dude is pretty much tugging on his calf. It's not even like it just his ankle. He's got his whole calf like wrapped to his stomach, just pulling him down. And like one of the most dirty plays I think you will ever see, especially that blatant. Pretty crazy.
That Bozeman hit though is not
sick.
I mean,
that is textbook. I mean, that's finishing a block right there, and that's I think every single coach in America should honestly show that to every single lineman and say, this is how you protect your quarterback.
Yeah,
there you
or
go.
Or teammate in general. Honestly, if anybody, if that's happening to anybody, you're getting decked.
Stefon Diggs, the wide receiver for the Texans, suffered a season-ending knee injury on Sunday versus the Colts. Diggs is on an expiring deal and set to become a free agent this offseason. I feel like he's about 31. I remember looking this up when the deal got done. I think he's either 31 or 32. I don't think he's 30 on the nose anymore. On an expiring deal, Chris, I still think he has something left in the tank. I mean, he, off the top of my head, it seemed like he was having some really good games for the Texans. The Texans, they never had their whole receiver core together. I know at the beginning of the season we talked about maybe there were too many mouths to feed and now there are less mouths to feed. But when it's due to injury, Tank Dell and Nico Collins, everybody's been in and out. Texans are definitely sliding by. I'm still not truly convinced that they are going to contend for the whole thing this season.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Stefon Diggs turns 31 in exactly a month. November 29th, he turns 31. So, I mean, that's, obviously on the wrong side of 30 from a prime perspective. I think he's still got, obviously if he can come back from his injury at full strength, I think he's still got a couple good years of production in him. I think it's probably best that he starts to transition into this 2 or 3 receiver spot, but I definitely think, especially considering that, Stefon Diggs probably made the biggest play of my Minnesota Vikings fandom lifetime with the Minneapolis Miracle. I think he's still got a lot to give, and he's a really, really good player, just can be a bit of a drama king inside the locker room. But besides that, I think any franchise that picks him up, you might not get immediate results from him because he's coming back from this injury, but I feel like you're gonna like what you get from him, and he definitely is somebody who's gonna really, really grind to come back. He's an all-time worker.
It's interesting. I know he had the beginning of his season was crazy with Odell, but this just has me thinking of Odell in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he could have been Super Bowl MVP, and then after that, it just wasn't it. All right, we have the Kings preview that we'll get to, but we got to tie a bow on this Dwayne Wade situation. We have what Dwayne Wade had to say. We have Bill Simmons ripping the statue. So we have that, and we have the Kings versus Jazz preview, getting you ready for your Kings trying to secure a back-to-back beam this early in the season. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
All right, let's tie a bow on the Dwayne Wade statue situation, and then we will get into the Kings versus Jazz preview. Nate, we got a winner. We got a name for the winner today. It seemed like there were, a lot of calls came in.
It was a lot of calls today. I think people were getting excited. Jamie in Sacramento will be attending the UC Davis matchup. UC Davis dominating this year. They're looking really good.
Can someone give me a breakdown of the UC Davis tailgate experience? Is there anything there? Is it decent?
No. I wouldn't say amazing. No. That's kind of not what Davis. No. It's hard to say. Not amazing. Definitely not what Sac State was when I went to the Causeway 2 years ago.
Because I just saw a video of Sac State's homecoming, which made me pop.
They have a nice parking lot.
Which made me think about.
It's a little crazy.
What else is going on? All right.
Davis has the picnic day, but besides that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a family 4-pack. I do want. Yeah, I haven't done a tailgate with my family yet.
The stadium at Davis
is a different swag.
Really nice.
Right now is way leaps and bounds better than than Sac State, though. I'd say
For now.
Yeah.
$75 million NIL money.
The grass, they kick the field goals, and you can catch the ball on the grass. It's kind of fun.
Then you got to give it back.
I don't know.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Not enough people talking about Davis this season. Only lost this year for UC Davis, week 1 at Cal.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they could have beat them. They could have beat Cal. They were kind of hanging around.
There you go. All right. Let's get to this.
Big one against Montana coming up.
Well, they got to get past Northern Colorado first.
Sure, but yeah, Montana, that's the big one, but it's at home.
Northern Colorado also 1-7.
I was talking to Marsh, the play-by-play for Scott Marsh here, and he was saying that it's always rough when they go to Montana, but luckily they're coming here, and I hope they get it done.
They have a tough end of the season, too. I'm looking at it here. They got Montana. Next week, they have Montana State, who's 8-0. They're actually better than Montana this season, crazy enough. And then they end at Sac State for that big game, Causeway Classic, end of the season.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big month.
It is. For Davis. They're undefeated in the Big Sky.
Undefeated in the Big Sky,
It's fun.
Couple more chances to win, then want to get out there as they take on the 1-7 Northern Colorado football team. I used to know. Wait, give me real quick, Chris.
Okay.
I used to, my old job, I had to know I worked with a lot of colleges. Oh, it's going to kill me once you tell me who
it's a
their
very
mascot
simple
is.
name. Very simple.
Northern Colorado. Are they the Owls?
They are not. Nope.
Who are they?
The Bears.
The Bears?
The Bears. Northern Colorado Bears. The Bears.
Northern.
I'm looking at it.
No, I know.
Just for Davis, too, a lot of their star players, like Lan Larison, who's their all-time rushing leader last season for their quarterback, there's their special teams guy, Trent Tompkins, who's like, call him the Magic Man, final year. So I think they're trying to really take advantage of that and just dominate. So
I'm sure they were pretty sick and tired of all the Sac State talk these past couple years.
Sure.
And again, Davis has had traditionally the better football program of the two. And I think it's really important and nice for them to kind of be stamping their thing down and saying, look, like we were competitive when Sac State was good. Sac State just had their nice little run, but Davis has been good, and it seems like they're here to stay.
Since we're here, Chris, do you think that the Davis, a big part of Sac State trying to get into the Pac-12 is them going to play at Golden One Center, right? Because their basketball arena is terrible.
Yep.
Do you think Davis's facility, basketball-wise, because I think their football stadium is nice enough. It's just a little small. I think it's 14,000 capacity. A lot of seats are on the grass.
Yeah.
Do you think their basketball stadium is nice enough?
Yeah, I think the pavilion's awesome.
Yeah.
Like the pavilion is really, really nice. I've been really impressed by just like the building itself. And I mean, I went there for a graduation, plenty of seats, plenty of you kind of get the sunken in. It's kind of like Golden One Center where the floor is actually like below you when you walk in. I think it's a more than fine stadium or arena for them if they were to expand. Now, is it going to be Pac-12 quality? Maybe not, but I think if they were to be like Mountain West or something, I would think that it's more than fine. But I don't think we've also heard any sort of rumors of Davis maybe looking to move out.
I will say, there's been a couple times on this show where I've had, I wouldn't say insider information, but I've heard a couple things. And a month or two ago, I heard something about the Pac-12 just loving to spend money, and that means that Sac State would have a pretty good chance of sneaking in. And then I don't know how far Davis is behind, but keep an ear peeled. That's it.
Okay,
there you go. All right, Nate, let's get to this sound. This is Bill Simmons on Dwayne Wade's statue.
The biggest loser of the day was Dwayne Wade, who had the worst statue of all time. Did you see it? What did you think it looked like? I actually thought it looked like somebody who had emerged from a fire and lived. It was like Jim Carrey's fireman, whatever his Fireman Ed sketch. Can you imagine having a statue look that bad of yourself being unveiled? What would you even say? Thanks. There's never been a worse sports statue ever. I mean, it got rightfully killed today.
It really looks like a freaky, like some kind of a Lord of the Rings character or some.
It's so funny. How many guesses would you have taken before you knew that was Dwayne Wade?
I would have guessed Sam Cassell like 500 times first, and then I still would have been wrong.
There you go. This is what Dwayne Wade had to say about the polarizing reactions to the statue. Yeah, I have an iPhone. Social media world is about opinions. Send some memes. We don't care. It was a special moment yesterday. My family and I, it is a complicated process. It don't need to look like me. It's an artistic version of me. That is what Dwayne Wade had to say. Chris?
Well, I would not say it's the ugliest statue I've ever seen. I feel like people are forgetting about that Ronaldo statue. That one looked absolutely nothing like him. I think the Dwayne Wade one definitely is not a good one, but I, again, will say what statues are good. I very rarely see these sports statues that end up really looking like their guys. I just feel like they tried to make it look too real. It looked fine when it was smooth, but like all the veins and everything that they're trying to show in the face is kind of where they went wrong on that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to show off, the composition, I guess.
I don't think you had to. I think you could have just left it pretty simple, and I think you kind of get lost in the details, and then especially on something like a bronze statue, I just kind of think it ends up making it look – if you try and make it look too realistic, I think it ends up doing the opposite effect, and probably should have just kind of kept it a little cartoony.
Yeah, well, look, as long as Dwayne Wade – I do think it's funny. We talked yesterday about some of the pictures of him as a part of the process. I do think it's funny him saying – it don't need to look like me. I guess that's one way to That's one way to kind of go over it. Okay, well, if Dwayne Wade likes it, I love it. That's what I got to say about that. Love Dwayne Wade growing up when he was a flash, and I hated when LeBron James went to join him because I wanted Dwayne Wade to be the guy, not just one of the guys. We have your Kings Jazz preview when we return. Also, we give you some prop talk. Hopefully, you can get some cheese on a Tuesday. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Malik Monk plays here.
Started left, goes right, steps back, launches the three. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Meet Cheryl. Hey, she's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank NA member FDIC.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM. Or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
I didn't expect to, but I need to get a new health insurance plan. The good news is I found Health Markets. Health Markets lays out plans available to you. They have access to more than 200 carriers across the country. And if you need help, you can just speak with a licensed insurance agent.
For real personalized service, call Health Markets at 855-680-8222 to speak to a licensed insurance agent. That's 855-680-8222. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency nationwide except in Massachusetts. Paid actor per trail.
At the law offices of Dale R. Gomes, we understand that when you're facing a crisis, you need more than just a lawyer. You need a team. Our dedicated attorneys work together, combining decades of experience to guide you through personal injury or criminal defense matters with care and expertise. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way, ensuring your voice is heard and your rights are protected. With offices in Sacramento and El Dorado County, reach out to the law offices of Dale R. Gomes today, 916-999-9033, or online at dalegomslaw.com.
It's 4th and goal. The pressure's on. The home team needs this to win it. No matter what you're up against, it's always a win at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Special finance options and trade-in offers make it easier than ever to upgrade your ride. Because at Stockton Honda, we believe everyone deserves a winning deal.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claims based on 2023 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company. L1 report.
Sacramento State football is back at home this Saturday. Join us for Salute to Heroes Night
and check out some high-flying action between your Sacramento State Hornets and the Portland State Vikings. And after the game, stick around for the post-game fireworks show. It's this Saturday, November 2nd at Hornet Stadium. 6 o'clock game time between Sacramento State and Portland State. Tickets on sale now at hornetsports.com. We'll see you there, and Stingers up.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
"30 more minutes with you. Whitey Gleason will be joining us for a little cross-talk at the end of this segment. But it is time to preview the Jazz and your Sacramento Kings. Chris Watkins, what you got?
Well, first off, I spent the break looking at way too many statues. And it did remind me that the Utah Jazz, where the Kings will be playing tonight, probably have the worst 2 statues sitting in front of their arena of all time. They have John Stockton and Karl Malone statues, and that's about it out there. So yeah, bit of a tough look in the year 2024, but it's fine, whatever. Yes. So yeah, what we have for today's game as the preview, first and foremost, the Utah Jazz, like we've been talking about all day, are 0-3 on the season so far. They will be hungry, looking for their first win of the season. They lost in game 1 to the Memphis Grizzlies. Really tight game. 126-124. Then they lose to the Warriors big time, 127-86, and then lose to the Dallas Mavericks 110-102. So again, hasn't been a good season for the Jazz so far. Lots of young players, but they are hungry nonetheless for a victory. The Kings last season, it should be no problem for them as they took care of Utah 3-0 last year. So it was not a problem for this Kings team to play Utah, even though they were a little bit of an inferior opponent. Definitely still pretty fair skill-wise. You know, I think that they aren't necessarily a bad team. They're not a team that typically, you know, you go out there and you can just run through and not have to think about. They field the Lauri Markkanen 20-point per game scorer. They got Colin Sexton. They got some guys, your boy Jordan Clarkson, that could really make it tough for you. So definitely not a team to take lightly, and the Kings didn't last season. The key stat for me tonight is for the Kings to get out in transition. If you look at the Kings, they are number 2 in the NBA in fast break points so far this season, 19.3 points per game. They are 3rd in opponents' fast break points in terms of allowing the fewest amount of points in transition, 8 points per game they allow. On the Utah side, they allow a ton in transition, tied for 22nd in opponent fast break points at 16.3. And then they themselves don't really get out, 21st in the NBA, 11.3 points in transition for Utah this season. So first and foremost, the Kings need to run tonight. It's the second night of a back-to-back. I know that they themselves might be a little bit tired, but they have to take advantage and really make sure to get out on the break and take advantage of Utah's slower pace of play. Utah also, for what it's worth, we saw the Blazers miss everything in sight yesterday. We might see some more of that. So it might be really imperative, as it is every night, for the Kings to hit shots. But the Utah Jazz are dead last in the NBA in field goal percentage. They've knocked down 38.3% of their shots total so far this season through 3 games, which is terrible. Absolutely terrible. You have to take advantage of that. The next closest is at 40%, the Houston Rockets. So they are much worse than just about every other team in terms of their field goal shooting percentage. They're also 28th in the NBA from 3. So they do not discriminate. Doesn't matter if it's a 2 or a 3. Utah just can't hit shots right now. They're shooting 28% on the season from 3. Just for an example, the Blazers walking into yesterday's game were shooting 33% from 3. So the Utah Jazz, an even worse shooting team. Hopefully the Kings, again, can take advantage of that and win this game in multiple different areas. Can they win the 3-point battle? Can they win the offensive rebounding battle, which might be a little bit tougher today? Also on the Jazz injury front, a good bit of names out. Isaiah Collier, their draft pick from this year, he's out with a right hamstring strain. Taylor Hendricks, we've talked about that. He fractured his right fibula last night. Absolutely terrible injury. Micah Potter, he's on a 2-way contract. Oscar Shibwe is on a 2-way contract. Drew Eubanks will be questionable tonight with an illness, and Johnny Juzang with a right thumb sprain is also questionable. So Utah already dealing with a good helping of injuries as well.
All right. Well, there you have it. I mean, this is a game that the Kings absolutely have. I wouldn't say have to have, but this would go in the category of the same games that we talked about ad nauseum last season with your, oh, well, you lose to Charlotte, you lose to Detroit, you lose to Portland. This would be right up that alley. Maybe it would be a half a notch less embarrassing than that, but ultimately it's just a game in this Western Conference that you have to have. And here's the crazy thing, Chris. This is the scary part about, just being in this Western Conference and really just in general. Nobody's going to go winless. Okay, they might not win a lot of games, if any of these bad teams, but nobody's going to go winless. So you just got to make sure that it's not you, because somebody is going to get got by the Jazz or by the Blazers. The Blazers already got the Pelicans. You just got to make sure that it's not you. There are a bunch of other teams that these teams can eventually beat. You just got to make sure it's not you, because the Jazz are not going to go winless. You just got to make sure it's not you.
No, they're not. They're definitely not going to go 0-82. I would probably compare it more to like the Rockets' losses of last year. I think Utah's a good team. They've kind of always been in that 11-12 spot in the Western Conference. They have talent. They're really, really well coached. And I do think that some of their young talent is really exciting. Keontae George is somebody who can light it up in the same way that Anthony Simons could light it up the other day. Walker Kessler is a really good center in the paint. They're going to have to watch out for his presence down there. Colin Sexton, somebody who can light it up on any given night. So I just think the Kings can't overlook what Utah brings and what they may look like. They gotta treat them just like they're anybody else, any other good team in the NBA, and just handle them really, because they have the capability. But Utah also, again, very hungry. They're looking for their first win. They're not going to go down easy.
No, they're not going to go down easy. They're trying to rally around their brother that they lost due to really, really rough injury. So unfortunately, the Kings have to look at that and say, hey, we understand where they're coming from. We wish them all the best, but we just can't afford to lose this ball game at this point in the season. So, and I don't think they will, Chris, but we're going to know a lot more about the Kings based on how they come out tonight. They took care of business last night against a team that they're just straight up better than. This spread, you're not at home, but this spread, not as crazy as it's 6.5, right, Nate?
Ooh.
Yeah, so we have a poll going on right now on YouTube that we're going to wrap up pretty quick here, but it was set at initially opened, I believe, at 5 in favor of the Kings, and then moved to 6.5, and that might have been because of the injury. Or
I'm looking at
what?
ESPN right now, and it's 7.5.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's gotten even higher.
Oh, wow. The Kings are just getting better by the minute.
As a matter of fact, I see on ESPN that it opened at 10.5.
Really?
Yeah, there's no way. Not off a back-to-back. I'm sorry.
Huh.
But I did say that yesterday, and they did cover the Kings.
Sure.
ESPN also has their
like
own
it.
sports book now, so that's just their number.
But I'm ready to get into some prop talk if you guys are. I'm excited about this.
We're already
one.
talking lines.
Yeah, we're kind of already there.
We're there.
With that said, I'll just go ahead and start if you.
The prop
if you guys are
talking.
fine with
Go
that.
ahead.
I'm doing one of my signature picks tonight.
Okay.
It's an all or nothing.
Okay.
And it's one I've already done this year, but I'm
Okay.
going a different way. Sabonis set at half 3 points. So far or half a 3-pointer, right? So over under, he either makes one, he doesn't make one. This season, he's doing what Mike Brown wanted, right? It was 3 to 4 threes a game. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what he said. He wanted Sabonis shooting per game.
Yeah.
And so far, he shot 4 with the T-Wolves, made 3, shot 3 against the Lakers, made 1. With the Blazers, shot 2, made 1. I just think he's due to not have one. And that's not a shot against Sabonis or anything. I do think the Kings get it done. I just don't think so. I'm taking half a 3-point. I'm taking that under. That's it.
Okay.
Well, in the spirit of yesterday when you and Alan went head-to-head, and who won that one, Alan?
I did.
Alan snuck it out. It was close.
I'm going to go
Good
against
line.
you, Nate, and we're going to do a little show-off here as I'm going to take the over on Sabonis half a 3.
Okay.
So you put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I will.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything you just said is I'm going to use it against you. I'm going to say that Sabonis has hit a 3 in every single game, and I think that Mike Brown wants him to continue to, and with Walker Kessler being a rim protector, a paint protector, I think it might be in the Kings' best interest for Domantas Sabonis to, I don't know, maybe we do get up to the 5 number today. Maybe we do take 5 threes. We get a little bit frisky on the second night of a back-to-back. Who wants to do all the work of driving into the lane? Just let it fly, Domas. Let it fly.
There you go. I'm going with a guy who didn't make one yesterday, and you probably didn't see this coming, Keegan Murray. So Keegan Murray's still at that 2.5 number for threes. I'll tell you what, I'm not extremely confident in it, but I'm just playing the numbers, and it's just hard for me to believe. I don't think there's no way Keegan is going to go 3-less again. Will he get to 3? I don't know, but I'm going to ride with it.
What could possibly go wrong?
Hey,
it just scared me.
Well, that's why people like to do all or nothing. Even the touchdown, the touchdown parlay. I like to feel like I have a chance, even if I don't.
Some other good numbers that I saw I liked. Malik Monk, 3.5 assists. That feels like an easy one for me. He's been obviously like near 4 or 5 just about every game. No.
We get the music.
No. And then there was another one too that was sticking out quite a bit. It was
Chris lost his train of thought.
I lost it. This song just brings it out of me. I don't know. I completely forgot.
There you go. Well, as far as the dogs are concerned,
Kevin Huerter, 2.5 threes. That's what it was.
You think so? That's the thing, right? I mean, he's cooking right now. He got 4 last night. Are you hopping on the train?
He got 4 the last 2 games.
Is he due for a cool off night?
Possibly. Definitely possibly.
Back to back, he's still getting his legs under him.
That boy is streaky. So, that could go either way. Of you could say, hey, he's on a hot streak right now. Or you could say, yeah, he's been too hot and he's probably going to cool down, come back to earth at some point here soon. We'll see. So far, so good, though. He shot 42% on 6 threes a game through 3 games. So I'm going to take I like that as well. I'm not taking it, but I do like it. 2.5 threes for me.
You have the dogs, guys. Well, you have the dogs from yesterday and then your dogs for today. Chris, who's your dog for tonight?
Tonight is a night where it kind of is starting to feel like, you know what? Let's not overthink this. It's a Malik Monk kind of day. Last year, if we remember correctly, Utah early in the season, game 1, as a matter of fact, had the dunk of the year. Let's say Malik Monk creates another highlight tonight. That's going to be my dog qualification. Maybe we should start doing that too. As Nate asked earlier, like would Trey ripping his jersey classify as a dog activity? I think Malik's got to have a highlight dunk in order for me to count this as a dog performance. Thank you.
So there you go. All right. Nate, who you got?
I got kind of a strange one. It's a guy who might not even get minutes tonight, but second out of a back-to-back, Mike Brown kind of tested the waters with him. Jordan McLaughlin is my guy. I think if he gets on the court, he could make an impact on the game. That very important for the Kings.
There you go. And last but not least, I'm just riding with who I have for prop talk as well. Keegan Murray. I think Keegan Murray will be a guy who shows up in a big way because he kind of chilled yesterday. So in these back-to-back situations, guys that did the heavy lifting the first night might not necessarily do the heavy lifting the second night. So I think Keegan will say, don't worry, guys, I'll take us home out here in Utah. And that could actually be used for Malik Monk as well, Chris, with a quieter game. So I think both those guys could carry the Kings to victory tonight. Crosstalk when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sacramento Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
O'Reilly. Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's football season, and Uber Eats is dropping undefeated deals on all your game day favorites. This week, score buy one, get one free spicy chicken sandwiches from Wendy's, only on Uber Eats. Craving even more? We've got you covered with game day deals on pizza, burgers, tacos, and more all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms, taxes, and fees apply. See app for details.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Don't let summer energy slip away. Live the active life you love year-round with a personally fit arch support system from the Good Feet store. Precision engineered to support all four arches. Good Feet puts your feet in a more ideal, comfortable, and pain-free position. And Good Feet arch supports are now HSA and FSA eligible. Book a free fitting at goodfeet.com or come in and get a free pair of OS First Performance socks. Free. Normally a $25 value at the Good Feet store.
Ready to pre-game your next big arena event? Head to Beach Hut Deli, a Sacramento tradition for over 40 years, where aloha is served daily. Located just steps away from the arena, whether it's game day or concert night, it's the perfect spot to gather with friends and enjoy amazing sandwiches. Are you planning a bigger get-together? Beach Hut Deli offers endless catering options to bring those delicious flavors to your next party or event. Beach Hut Deli. Good vibes, great food, and epic times await.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Golf.com's Josh Sens offers 5 common golf course maintenance mistakes and tips to correct them. You've hit the green, and to fix your divot, you jam your tool underneath the ball mark and lift the soil, but the right way is to circle the edges of the mark with your tool, gently pulling the turf toward the center. Second, when fixing divots in the fairway, fill it with sand until it's level with surrounding turf, and gently smooth it with your foot. Third, when the course imposes the 90-degree rule, it means to stay on the cart path until you can turn at a right angle to your ball, minimizing wear and tear on the turf. 4, when you're driving on the course, proceed at a modest pace and avoid staked and roped-off areas. Avoid sharp turns, wet turf, bunker edges, tees, and greens. The superintendent will applaud you. 5, in a bunker, rake the sand smoothly and exit as you entered from the low side. Tap the sand from your shoes and leave it as if you weren't there. And now that you know, make sure your foursome knows as well. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Model year-end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year-end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
I love this. 15 minutes left in the show.
I also love that.
And we get this from the 209. Why isn't Monk starting?
Yeah.
3 question
Bring
marks.
it back.
And where do you find minutes for the first round pick once he's healthy?
Oof, that's a good question.
Yeah. The first one 209. We will get to probably both of them more so in depth tomorrow. But look, the Devin Carter conversation, we can just cross that bridge when we get there. I don't think we need to have that conversation now. As far as Malik Monk is concerned, Mike Brown has essentially given us the Nick Saban on the situation. It's not happening. Malik Monk isn't starting. If you're asking why, to put it simply, Mike Brown just thinks they need that punch off the bench. And if you looked at the bench lately, he ain't wrong. Now, do I think it's fair to just continually have a bench that can't score? Say, sorry, Malik, since our bench can't score, you're stuck on the bench. Probably not, but ever since Malik Monk re-signed, I don't really think about it anymore, Chris, because this tells me that Malik Monk likes it. It's kind of similar, or at least doesn't mind it. Reminds me of the Dwayne Wade statue, right? Other people can complain about it, but if Dwayne Wade doesn't mind and he likes it, that's all that matters. Malik Monk doesn't seem to mind, at least doesn't seem to mind enough. He knew when we talked to Malik Monk during media day and when he first announced that he was returning, what did he say? He said that he had a conversation and he knew that the Kings were going to go after someone, and that's why he felt comfortable enough to re-sign. So what does that tell you? He knew that if they did sign somebody like a DeMar DeRozan or somebody of that caliber, he could be coming off the bench. So that is why I honestly, Chris, I really haven't even thought about it in a very long time. Now, if Malik Monk was going to re-sign and they kept the same roster, then let's have a conversation, because I don't think he would have started on that team.
Correct.
I don't think Malik Monk wanted to start on a 9 seed. But I think Malik Monk would be okay starting on a 4, 5, or even 6 seed. What's up, Whitey Gleason? How you doing?
Good. First things first, I want to be, as far as I know, the first to publicly applaud Nate for his bold fashion choice.
Yes, you are the first. Yeah.
Applaud you.
Thanks, Papa.
Oh, that is.
Rod said I look like his son.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. I hear
it.
Papa.
I can really see it.
Secondly, as far as Malik goes, we had Chris's close personal friend Jerry Reynolds on Friday. He's going to be on with us every week now during the season.
Lucky you.
He said on Malik, he said, look, I get Malik not starting. I understand that. Don't have a problem with it. But he said, Malik's one of your 5 best players. He needs to play more. So that's what
play more.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Love me some Jerry.
Yeah.
More than, I mean, what did Malik
I know
have?
that's second guessing, but I'm sorry. That's just how I feel.
No, I'm just saying Malik played
18 minutes last night.
Yeah, 18. Yeah, I thought he played more than that. Yeah, you get I guess yesterday wasn't a good barometer because they smacked the Blazers. But yeah, on a night like tonight, I think a night like tonight, off a back-to-back, this is very much a Malik Monk, Keon Ellis. There are going to be more situations, I think, today. Because I'm telling you what, Whitey, yeah, you have Sabonis playing 36 minutes, DeMar DeRozan 34 minutes, De'Aaron Fox played 35. They were in the 40s this weekend against the Lakers. I just think that Mike Brown is hoping that they do exactly what they did last night. But to that point, I asked Chris, were you a little bit surprised because of that Mike Brown left them in until about the 2:30 mark? I mean, that was a bit, I know you want to get the W, but that tells you enough about the bench. I know it's earlier in the season, but if you're waiting till the 2:30 mark to take out your starters against a hybrid, it wasn't even the Blazers starters. It was just a bunch of dudes and DeAndre Ayton. I don't think that's very good either.
I think he's been, not so much last night, but he's been chasing wins. Chasing wins when you do things that you know are not in your best interest long term, but it's like, never mind, we got to get this.
Yes.
The first 2 games, it didn't work out. But last night, I pulled back the throttle a little bit. And as you know, you guys probably played it. He patted himself on the back last night because he said, I was killing my guys. So I pat myself on the back for not playing them so many minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Can I give you guys a key number that I just found?
7.
Yes, very good.
Nice.
That was our caller for UC Davis tickets. You know who the Kings might miss today is Harrison Barnes. As I'm looking here, HB against Utah last year, 24.3 points per game was by far his biggest point total against any other opponent. Next closest, he averaged 17 against Atlanta in 2 games, 16 against Toronto in 2 games, Washington 15.5. Let's see here. He averaged 18 a game against Golden State in 4 games, so I guess that was second closest, but 24 points per game against 3 games against Utah last year for HB.
He had 30.
Somebody's got to fill in. 30,
opener,
I think 33 in the opener it might have been last year. So that could maybe be a place where the Kings, hopefully DeMar DeRozan is more than capable of doing it, but that was a really key factor, or at least that matchup specifically was something that the Kings really exploited last year. Again, there's no reason to think not, but if you're not getting or replacing that level of production, which I think we all assume DeMar will, that could maybe be where you find yourself in some trouble tonight.
So you guys are not interested in Lonnie Walker, available now on the market?
Wait, I think I'm interested in him, but yeah.
Wait, the number 1 overall pick, he never got picked up. He was on Philly, and then he was on the Magic.
Markelle
Fultz, he's still just chilling?
I think so.
Wow.
Chris may know better than I.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Wonky shot.
It was something.
But I'm down for Lonnie Walker too. I mean, yeah, Lonnie Walker is a young. I mean, I just saw I just saw him tweet something. He said, "I'm only 25. All in due time. The marathon continues. I know the stars will align. Self-belief is the best belief. All part of the story. Stay tuned."
I think the Celtics wanted to send him to the G League, and he didn't want to go. So.
I mean, especially on the Celtics, it feels like he could probably find minutes somewhere in the NBA. I could imagine why maybe he was like, I'm not going to find any time on this Celtics.
You know, he's gone, I'm better than Peyton Pritchard.
He was cooking last night.
But
I love Peyton Pritchard. So is Lonnie Walker stuck in and here we are doing think pieces on Lonnie Walker here. Is Lonnie Walker stuck in a situation where he's almost too good? Because he could easily play on the Blazers right now, but the Blazers are saying, no, we don't want you to mess up. Well, we're trying to capture the flag here.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think like Lonnie Walker is affecting wins and losses. I just think, I mean, sometimes it happens where there's work. I mean, people say it all the time on these retired players podcasts, like for whatever reason, whether it be politics or whatever, it's not about the best guys sometimes. Sometimes it is just teams for whatever reason have plans, like Chris Murray. Like, I don't know if I think Lonnie Walker is a better player than Chris Murray, but they have an attachment to him trying to make him work because they drafted him so high. I just think there's tons of reasons why guys aren't in the league. And as crazy as it is, I don't think actual talent and availability is a big reason why guys don't have roster spots.
I want to thank you, Alan, for letting me watch, last night, the basketball game. Middle of the first half was not great. And sitting next to you, I got to watch the Steelers and Giants with you in the World Series. So thank you. I appreciate that on your laptop.
For some sort of entertainment.
Yes, for some sort of entertainment. It was rough. Why did we were talking statues earlier with Dwayne Wade, and now you have De'Aaron Fox eclipsing 10,000 points. De'Aaron Fox get a statue?
I don't want any statues till they take down the stupid piglet sculpture.
So dumb.
Thank you. Thank you. Dumb. So first things first. Yeah, okay. Kind of like baseball. Are you expanding? Well, we want to fix the stadium situations in Oakland and Tampa. So we're talking about any King statues. Move Piglet first.
Okay.
I'm not saying you have to destroy it or anything. Just move it.
All right.
It have to be right next to the arena.
All right. I know.
Then
they paid a lot of money for that statue.
Yeah,
that's
the Sports Illustrated cover should be the statue.
The Sports Equinox. I don't think it. I think it did live up to all the expectations.
Not if you're a New York fan.
That's what I was going to say. Unless you're a New York fan. Look, this is what everybody wanted, Whitey. I still think that if the Dodgers finish it out tonight, I still think that 4 games, Dodgers, Yankees, probably better than if they went 7 with Guardians, Dodgers. But I was really hoping for a better series.
Well, we'll see.
Bullpen game for the Dodgers tonight.
A-Rod says the Yankees aren't out of it yet, so you can you can go to the bank with whatever.
Oh, okay.
You sounded like Whitey in the Draper LeBron James. Okay. Okay.
I gotcha.
No,
I gotcha. Whitey, when's the next beach hut sitting? I need a Sando.
Not sure, but I'll let you know.
You guys had it popping a couple days ago. I was a little jealous.
Yeah. It got really, really busy there to the point where it's like, hey, we're trying to do a show.
Yeah.
Be quiet. Run right. I'm kidding.
Guys, please.
Be quiet back there. All
right. A lot of time.
Whitey, Kyle Draper, is he on the road again?
He's on the road again.
On the road again. Whitey.
He's in Salt Lake City on the road again.
So it's you and Jay Johnson?
And Kyle Draper.
And on the road again.
On the Zoom again. All right. Or on the StreamYard again. All right. You got the Drive Guys coming up next. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson. I don't know why we're going.
You know, this is the Utah accent.
It's not Utah. It's not Dallas. It's Utah now. Now, don't, Colin Sexton, he'll get you if you let him. All right. Thanks to all the callers, texters, sack chatters. Congrats to our winner of the UC Davis tickets. Enjoy yourself. Couple more chances throughout the week. And until tomorrow, great job to Nate as well. Yeah. Until tomorrow, secure the bag. Like the beam.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown Sports.
Oh my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey Sacramento, it's Malik Monk and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1. Yeah, any size, anytime.